Hello. Are we starting or not? What's happening?
Can you mute yourself, please? We are live. Thank you. Hello guys, hello, we're live. Welcome to Now Chat Show UK. I'm Janelle Rayburn.
And I'm Kaz Mack.
And we are so happy that you have joined us. Now we've got a fantastic episode lined up for you today. This is actually a bonus episode because we have been deconstructing dating, haven't we?
Yes, we have indeed. Now guys, you know, this episode has been very interesting, very educational and extremely entertaining. However, one of our viewers was adamant that we actually did something just for the men, just so that the men could actually have their platform to have their say. So we made it happen. And this is what happens when you've got an idea and we feel that we can actually do it, we'll make it happen. So this platform is for us, but it's also for you.
That's right. So what we've got lined up for you today is perspectives from men on dating and relationships. So it's all about male perspectives on dating and relationships. We've got a panel of 8 guys that will be joining us. We have lots of questions lined up. In fact, they have questions themselves for the panel members, and we are just going to get straight into it. So guys, if you do have any questions, please do send them in via YouTube, the YouTube link. There's a live stream chat there. If you're watching on Facebook, please send your questions in via Facebook, and they will appear in our comments, and we will hopefully read out your questions for you. So we are going to introduce our panel. Hi, Serena. Let us know you can hear us loud and clear. Give us a thumbs up if you can. And guys, can you all put yourselves on mute, please? Everybody needs to be on mute except us, because we're the hosts.
We are going to be controlling it, as we do as women. Ooh, look at our panel of men. They look extremely
handsome. Okay, so we're going to get started. We're just going to introduce these guys. So guys, we're going to introduce you one by one. We're going to start with Neil. And Neil, tell everybody out there what you do, and you know whether you're single, married, and if you are, how long you've been. So tell everyone about you.
Okay, so my name's Neil Mant. As a profession, I'm a supply chain and procurement director for a company called Vinci Construction, a large global player in construction and concessions. I'm married. I've been married for 14 years, happily married. She is listening, so yeah, happily married. We met 20 years ago. We've actually been together 20 years. We have 2 children, one 16 and one 12, both boys. And yeah, I'm interested to understand some perspective from some of the other guys as well. If I can share any of my experience, then great.
fabulous.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we've
got Elle Newman. And Elle Newman, if you can introduce yourself and tell us about your status and what you do.
Okay. Right, so I'm Earl Newman. I am a director of a my company is called Music and Brands. So we do brand partnerships with major labels and artists, and we've been doing that for a while. Got 20 years working in the public sector as well. My relationship status is I've been in a long-term relationship the last 15 years. We've been together, 3 kids, strong family unit. I'm trying to think what else to say. That's it for now. That's it for now.
Sometimes less is best.
Thanks, Elle. All right, Jeremiah, over to you.
Hi, my name's Jeremiah. I'm the CEO of and the author of From the Heart, which is the book which is
Jeremiah, your audio is a bit fuzzy, so I don't know whether you've got headphones on. If you haven't, or you need to come closer to your.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, that's perfect. But then,
Yeah,
That's fine. Yeah.
sorry, I'm the head of From the Heart, the book, the poetry book, and I've actually got a code.
No, Jeremiah. Sorry, Jeremiah. Your audio's not good. We'll come back to you. If you can get some headphones, and we'll come back to you, okay? Okay.
so Charles,
Hold on, let me-
so Charles, introduce yourself and your status, please.
How you doing, guys? My name is Charles Duth. I'm by day project manager for a premium automotive brand. By night, I'm a DJ, nightclubs and weddings. And for my life, I'm a husband and a man of God. I've been married for 6 years happily, and I have 2 children, one 21 and one 18 months she is now. So yeah.
Oh
That's
wow,
me.
got your hands full.
Just about.
All right, well, welcome to the panel, Charles. Okay, next up we have Daniel Edwards. Daniel, introduce yourself. What do you do? What's your status?
Greetings, I'm Daniel Edwards. You hear me clear?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'm representing from Jamaica. I'm the CEO of Total 180, the Caribbean's only lifestyle brand for men. We're the person develop programs for men that cover areas such as dressing for success, etiquette and decorum, mindset work, financial literacy, time management, you name it. And we also have Long Story Short, which is Jamaica's first and only storytelling showcase and live music experience. I am single, and I've been entanglement free for maybe a year now.
I love the way you stress, I am single and entanglement free.
In caps with red, in red with caps with like 3 exclamation points. Single. So I'm honored to be a part of this discussion, and it's good to see, new Caribbean people stepping up.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Daniel. Okay, who else do we have? We have Andre. So Andre, introduce yourself. You've got to unmute yourself, Andre. So guys, like we said, you'll control your mute buttons. Don't touch them.
All right, how you guys doing? Andre Fernandez. I'm a speed and physical conditioning coach, born, raised in London. What else you want to know? Yeah, in a relationship, 14 months now. Going really good, great guns, no complaints, very happy. Think I found exactly what I'm looking for, so we'll see where we go. But yeah, things are looking up and right now.
Brilliant. Thank you, Andre.
Thanks for joining the panel.
Stefan?
And we do have a couple of other guys with us. They're not quite on the stream just yet. I think they're having some technical difficulties, but as soon as they do come on, we will add them in. So just to let you know, we should have Jason Adamola joining us. Jason's an energy consultant and a mentor, and Jason's married. When he comes on, we'll get him to say a bit more about himself. And we have Stefan, who we're hoping Stefan can speak for himself at the moment. Stefan, oh, we've lost you again, Stefan.
And we've got Jason back in building.
All right, Jason, introduce yourself. Tell everybody watching what you do and your status, your relationship status. I think he's frozen.
Guys, I'm having technical problems.
That's fine, but we can hear you. So if you just say,
hello?
Just tell us a bit about yourself, Jason. We can hear you. We can hear you. Okay, so Janelle's already introduced Jason. So he is married, and I think we should just. Oh, Stefan.
Yeah, he's not with us.
Yeah, so Stefan's not with us at the moment, guys. So we do apologize. These things do happen when you go live in the 2020 times that we are living in. This is how we have to communicate. Otherwise, we would be in a studio with these gorgeous babes.
Yeah. We would be. Now we're gonna show you all their faces once again in just a moment. We just want to say hello to some of the people watching out there. Thank you so much for joining us. We can see so far JJ, Serena, Zoe,
Coach Carla.
Hello guys, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Tracy,
Maria, Charlie Joy. Hey girl.
We've got Ian on, we've got Nads Knight and Marcia Williams. Lee Jasper said, where is Stefan? That's what we'd like to know, but hopefully he will be joining us very shortly. Adelaide, hey, and Man of the House is Astrology, somebody who's got a name that sounds very interesting. I'm sure they're very interesting. And yeah, thank you all for joining us, guys. We are really excited. So this is Male Perspectives on Dating and Relationship. We do have a panel of 8 guys for you all lined up. I am Janelle Rayburn, as I said.
And I'm Kaz Mack.
And we are your Now Chat Show ladies. So, should we just get straight into it?
I think it makes sense that we go straight in. And now, guys, make sure if you've got any questions, please do comment in the box, and we will ensure that we do ask those questions. But in the meantime, I think it's only fair that we get started with what the men wanted to start off in regards to the panel itself. So let's get this discussion started.
So that's right. So we told the guys this is their debate. We talk about dating all day long as females. We do it all the time. We delve in and out of dating, upside down, back to front, and we've been discussing dating on our show. But what we don't hear from enough is men and their perspectives on dating. So we did have a couple of IGs where we got some perspectives from a couple of guys. Well, one guy in particular who's on the live, actually, Daniel Edwards, on dating. We also spoke to another guy who's got a bespoke male dating consultancy, but there are so many different perspectives that we just thought, you know what, let's have a panel with guys. Let's hear what they have to say. We want to learn from them.
Definitely, we need to learn. I mean, myself and Janelle, we are single. We're not in no entanglement, we're just single. However, in order for us to learn a bit more about men, it just makes sense to find out from the men themselves. Now, we must make this very clear. This is just their answers is only coming from their perspective. So it's not their generalizing for all men. They're just talking about from their own personal perspective. So let's just be clear on that. So don't be throwing any banana skins or, you know, want to beat up the TV or your smartphone or anything like that because you don't agree with what the man them have to say, because it is their perspective.
That is correct. So we do have Jason with us, so we're going to ask Jason to say a bit about himself. So Jason, introduce yourself and what you do and your relationship status, please.
Jason! Okay, so I think we've introduced Jason, so I think really we have Stefan.
I can't hear anything. Can you hear?
Oh no! Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
All right, I don't think we're going to get Stefan on it either.
Yeah, Stefan's just there.
So Stefan, you introduce yourself. Everyone's been wondering where you are, Stefan. So introduce yourself.
Sorry, guys. It literally keeps on kicking me out and then kicking me back in and then taking me back, like refreshing the whole page. So I don't know what's going on with this with the StreamYard thing. It keeps on kicking me. But my name's I'm gonna be 31 in a few days. Actually, on the 28th of this month. Yeah. Currently single. And yeah. Obviously, right now I'm first.
Oh well, he got kicked out.
So you know that Stefan's 31, and he's 31 in a few days, and he is currently single. So if any of you single ladies who are watching and you like what you see, do let your girls know, and we will see what we can do for you.
So I think we're going to start off with a gentle question. This question actually came from Jason Adamola. He is on the live. He's also having technical difficulties, but he will join back very shortly. So Jason said, what is the essence of a relationship? So guys, we're going to ask you to raise your hands and we'll come to you one by one. What is the essence of a relationship? Who wants to kick off first? All right, I can see Andre's hand, so I'm going to come to Andre first. Okay, go on, Andre.
All right. Yeah, so it kind of, for me, it depends on what it is you're looking for and what you're after. I'm all about defining that before you can go and look for anything. For some people, a relationship is just hanging out, a couple of dates, doing the dirty, moving on whenever you want to. That's what some people are into. For me personally, because I'm looking for that lifelong partner, it is exactly that, sharing that life with somebody, building that bond, that connection, which takes you to that life. And so, yes, for me, you know, just in that loose term of relationship, it is far more than just that word. I don't even like using that word, relationship, because it just related, you know, we have relationships with everybody in different ways. But what separates you from your lifetime partner is the quality of that relationship. So, yeah, I'm going to stop talking there on that. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's me.
Would you say that you found it then? You found that essence? Ooh,
most definitely. Like, yeah, I'm not even going to question it. Definitely. Like, I mean, I'm not new to this. I've had a couple of near misses before. I know exactly what it should feel like, what it should look like. And yeah, like I've found that source, if you want to call it that. And man, I'm cooking with it.
Okay. Right, who wants to go next? What's the essence of a relationship? All right, let's go to Neil. Okay, go for it, Neil.
Okay. Yeah, so for me, a relationship, as Andre said, it can be something that's, you know, fly by night. It can be something that's quick. But for me, a deep, meaningful relationship is someone you meet and you build an initial connection. And for me, that initial connection is important because we kind of strive for this perfect relationship from the outset. For me, the essence of my relationship has been we made that connection and then we built a life together. And the connection and the life we built was based on trust. It was based on shared goals. For example, we have this whole thing that a relationship should be perfect when it starts. And, you know, everything I should be for Zoe should be perfect. Now, when I met Zoe, I, for example, wasn't ambitious. She actually inspired me to be ambitious. So she might not, if she was looking for someone ambitious from the outset, that weren't me. Do you know what I mean? 20 years ago, I was not that ambitious guy, but we built our relationship on a mutual connection and then made each other better year on year, you know?
Wow. And so you say year on year. So how, I know you said it at the top of the show, but for those who've just joined and now listening to you in more detail, how long have you been married?
I've been married for 14 years. I've got that right because she's she's listening. But yeah, 14 years actually.
Well, you say you've been together about 20 years, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
So you've been married for 14 years, and you was together how many years prior to the 14 years?
We've been together for 20 years ish. We got together fairly quickly. Thank you very much. Thanks for the applause. Yeah, we got together fairly quickly. We had our ups and downs in the outset. You know, we actually split up before we got married, and actually that brought us back together. And if anything, brought us back together stronger. And you know, we're still happily married to this day. So yeah, 14 years married and still going strong.
So you know, I'm not trying to be in your business or anything, no, but you know when you said that, well, I am trying to be in your business.
I'll tell you if
why you guys are here. So when you had to break and you got back together, what made you get back together and then decide to get married?
I think we went into a very serious relationship very quickly, and we were both very young. You know, I was 20 years old. I think because it happened so quickly, we weren't quite sure of exactly what we wanted, and was there things from our past that we needed to kind of resolve from previous relationships. So we split up, and Zoe needed a bit of time herself to just understand what it was that she really wanted without being in a relationship. I think she went from one relationship straight into a relationship with me, and she needed some time on her own, which she didn't get between those two things happening. So she stepped back, took a bit of time out, and realised that obviously I was what she wanted, and we've just built on things ever since.
So she realised you were the one, basically. We're going to come back and ask some more questions on that, because for some guys, splitting up that's it for them. They don't look back. So we would like to delve a bit deeper into that with you to understand why you felt that actually, even though you parted ways, this was the woman that you needed to come back to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, she had a quest for perfection, so she ended up finding it. So.
All right, thanks, Neil. All right, so we're going to come to Earl. Earl, what's the essence of a relationship?
I think just building on top of what the guys have just said, I think it's about enhancing each other. That's one of the key elements. I think it's getting with someone and helping them to be better in whatever they want to do, and vice versa. So, like in my situation, my other half is she's made me better than I was when she first met me, and I realized that I had a lot of growing to do. You see, when sometimes you'll meet someone and you get into the relationship for whatever reason, and you might think that you're fly and everything's crisp, but then you're with someone that is watching you and understanding your moods, understanding what makes you tick, understanding when you're doubting yourself. Do you know what I mean? And for me, my other half, she gets me. She gets me. And I've realized so many things about myself. Like, I didn't realize I was a moody person. I thought I'm Mr. Life and Soul, you know what I mean? Mr. Fun. But yeah, I'm a moody guy. And she's helped me to unpack certain things. And I think that I would say one of the other essences is somebody that helps to take away your insecurities. Because I don't have none with my current partner now. I don't have that. Everything's fly for me, but it's been a progression. You know, when we first got together, I didn't realize I had a lot of mental baggage. I thought everything was tight. And then what you find is you might bring things from the old relationship in, and you're not realizing that you're responding to the old relationship. And you're not appreciating what you're really in. And then certain times you have to go for a little rocky patch to realize, hold on a minute, I need to appreciate what is right in front of me. And she's helped me to do that. So with the guy you see here today, a lot of it is because of my other half. And wow. I'm not trying to be cheesy or corny. I'm just keeping it real.
Is she out of shot but in the room?
Nah, she's listening on her phone. I know she is. I know she's tuned in. So
yeah. So you're gonna get a little treat tonight then.
Yeah, she didn't pay me. She didn't pay me to say that. I'm gonna stop talking now. I'm gonna stop talking.
All right, thank you for that. So for those who are just joining us, we have kicked off with the first question. What is the essence of a relationship? We've just heard from three of the guys so far. It is actually Jason who asked the question, Jason Adamola. So Jason, we're going to come to you. To answer your own question, what is the essence of a relationship for you?
Well, first of all, guys, my apologies. I think got bad connection. From what I can hear from everyone, I think everyone's touched on it. The reception's really bad here, so I hope you can hear me. I can't really hear you guys properly. But for me, the essence of relationships is to learn. To learn. Can you? Okay, to me, the essence is growth. Learn. It's kind of like if you look at the mirror, you can't see everything about yourself, but other people that come into your life will always help you better yourself. And it's the same thing for a man and a woman. Every relationship we get on our journey is actually to improve us, to progress us, to evolve us. So by the time we meet the right person, we're actually where we need to be. So for me, it's about, I think someone mentioned growth. It's about growth, progression and improvement, constant, because you're learning every day. And I think once you learn and you know yourself, it's easier to maintain a relationship or a marriage. So for me, it was just an open question in regards to every type of relationship you come across in your life. I hope everyone could hear that.
Yeah, we heard that very well. Thank you.
You hear that?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you. So it's about, you said basically, you learn and you grow. So that I totally agree with you.
Yeah. And we do actually have a few comments. Someone said, yes, brother Neil. Great story from Neil, says JJ. Earl, you got the thumbs up for that story. But somebody else said, JJ also said, how real would the guys be if their partners were not listening, if they weren't in the room? We don't want you to answer that just yet, but we will come to that shortly. Are you under duress to give these beautiful poetic answers? All right, next guy we're going to come
I can
to.
see Daniel like in it because Daniel is single, so he can do that.
All right, next one. Jeremiah, what is the essence of a relationship for you? Jeremiah, can you hear us? That was a deep sigh. That means you can hear us, but you're having trouble. We can hear you. So what is the essence of a relationship for you?
Okay, I don't think Jeremiah can hear us, so I feel that it makes sense if we go over to Charles. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so for me, the essence of a relationship is a partnership, and the partnership, I think many of the guys have touched upon it, but the partnership is there for you to grow. And as you know, it is as corny as it sounds, is that it's like a business, isn't it? Is that you start off and what's your initial investment, and your initial investment, you want that investment to grow ultimately. And how do you build one another? Can you be vulnerable with one another? Are you both honest? Honesty is a big thing for me. So as long as I can be honest with my partner, and she's my wife, and she can be honest with me, then I feel that we can get through anything. And communication is the key to that. So the essence of relationship is built on solid foundation, that trust is there from day dot, and that you're looking at the long-term goal. It's not about the short term for me. I decided that a long time ago that, okay, the next partner that I'm going to look for, I'm looking on that trajectory of that person being my wife. So I think it's about a long-term goal when you look at it. I mean, when you make an investment, whether it's your house or going for a car, how many checks do you do? Now, it's the same. You got to treat your relationship in doing your due diligence on one another, but it's making sure that you're both operating at the same level with one another. And not everything's going to be perfect, but as long as you can communicate through it, then that's the best thing.
Okay, so Daniel, over to you. For you, what's the essence of a relationship?
Yeah, so I'm in agreement with everything I've heard so far. So I'm just going to submit this as another one on the list. Harmony. A relationship should be a beautiful dance between two people. Doesn't mean it's going to be on an even keel. Sometimes it will spike, sometimes it will, recede, but you're dancing together. And a lot of times there are people who they're not compatible. And what I realize is that one of the biggest problems in relationships is that sometimes we confuse commonality with compatibility. So both of you like Ja Rule, and both of you like want to go to Brazil. Both of you like drop, and you're like, wow, this is perfect. We have so much in common, but you're not compatible. So it's like listening to a song that is off key, just everything out of whack, So the thing though is that sounds very idealistic, but how do you achieve harmony? So as a single man who's not on a high horse, I do believe that it's really about, back to my old tired point, tapping into your inner compass. Tapping into your inner compass. Why are you seeking out this situation? Is it because it looks good on paper? She checks certain boxes, or does my compass keep pointing in her direction? So that's where I stand.
Thank you for that contribution.
Neil's got his hands up.
Let's go to Neil. So Neil, what did you have to say on that front then?
Yeah, absolutely well said. I like the beautiful dance bit. Unfortunately, you've never seen me dance, so it could be a car crash. But I just wanted to add for me, and one of the guys said earlier about looking in the mirror. Now, my wife Zoe has seen me at my best, but she's also seen me at my absolute worst, at my rock bottom. And she's accepted me. She's accepted my mistakes. She's forgiven my mistakes. And I think that's important as well, is not just seeing the best of someone, but if you're with that person and help them through the darkest of days and the times when they're really struggling, that builds an amazing foundation for a relationship.
Thank you. I think you're so right. I mean, I guess with the dance thing, what if you got 2 left feet? But then it's not compatible, is it? So it's not compatibility. So back to Daniel's point, and we've got a few comments on your point, actually, Daniel. Someone said, Daniel, you're deep. Commonality versus comparability. Winnie said, love that, Daniel. Don't confuse the 2 C's. And Adelaide said, I like that. Compatibility, commonality versus compatibility. Compass on that direction. Nice. And actually, Charles, JJ said, due diligence into your potential investment. Of course you would. Like anything else you would invest in life. So anybody else who hasn't, Jeremiah, we want to test our communication with you again. And I know Stefan's having difficulties. I'm going to add him again. But Jeremiah, we're going to come to you now. And just quickly let us know, what's the essence of a relationship for you? Someone said, Daniel, you're deep. Commonality.
Hello.
Okay, so whoever's streaming on another device, maybe if you can mute it.
Winnie said, love that.
I think it's Jeremiah.
Hello?
Jeremiah, we can hear you.
Sorry, I really do apologize. I cannot hear you at all.
Oh no.
Cannot,
Have you got headphones?
I cannot hear you.
Take out the headphones.
We can send more. Headphones.
Take your headphones out. I'm trying to do sign language now. All right, he's trying. You're trying to take them out. All right, we're going to mute you and we're going to see if we can get the connection with Stefan. Hopefully we can. Stefan.
Yeah, can you hear me?
What is the essence of a relationship for you?
Ooh, balance. I would say balance, where obviously 2 people can compromise with each other enough to just, be with each other and love each other, and that's really, really hard to find, especially when you find I think it's a very hard thing to find balance and love and compromise.
Okay, so balance, love, and compromise.
Okay. Let's try Jeremiah again. I think, Jeremiah, you may have it now. We're just going to try you one more time. Okay, Jeremiah, go for it. Essence of a relationship.
Yeah, sorry, ladies, I still can't hear you. I can see everything going on and I'm watching the live view, but I cannot hear you.
No, we can't. Sorry, Jeremiah, we can't hear you. Listen, Jeremiah, what you can do is come out of the stream, come back in, and if you're streaming live on any device, switch it off because it will interfere with the connection that you have. Yeah? So log out and just click back on the link again and we'll add you back in. Okay.
Okay, so I feel that we've heard from all the men other than Jeremiah so far, but Jeremiah's going to go out, come back in. And I feel that we should just go to the next question. So Neil Man said, do you feel that the quest for perfection can inhibit, sorry if I'm pronouncing things incorrectly, inhibit, I'm gonna laugh at myself. Anyway, so our ability to meet a partner. Do you want me to ask that question again? Yeah? Oh, you do? All right. Do you feel that the quest for perfection can inhibit our ability to meet a partner? Daniel, see you shaking your head. So maybe you can start by answering to that question.
That's a good one. That's a very good one. A lot of us see perfection, and what's even worse is that the perfection is the metrics are societal. So sometimes these boxes aren't even your real boxes. But somebody told you that you need to have a guy with a Range Rover. He needs to have this, he needs to have that, and that's the perfect guy. And you're just chasing into oblivion. So, and I did that too when I was younger, so I can relate. Coming back to this, it's not going to work. One of my mentors said to me, he said, I used to complain to him about women, and he would say, Daniel, she was always who she was before she met you. So while I believe that people have room to grow, at the end of the day, people are who they are. So if this person doesn't fall within your category of perfection now, she won't be later.
Right.
Okay. All right.
That makes sense. Okay.
Anybody else? Andre's got his hand up. Andre and Charles. Okay, so we're gonna go for Andre.
Yeah. Just to echo on what Daniel's saying. My views, my opinions are: look at what you need, not what you want, and not what society says you should be looking for. If you know you have a certain need, or you know you want someone to compliment you in a certain way, that's your perfection, right? You know what you want, well, providing you've done your homework and you know who you are and what you're about, what your foundation is, where you want to go in the future, and you're supposed to look for that in somebody who can complement that. And a seamless match is perfection. So for me, perfection does exist. What you classify it as, where you look for it, that's where the complications can arise. So let's not poo-poo all over perfection, because like I said, it is there, it can be there. How you classify it, what you want it to be, what you feel it should be, that's the key for me.
Okay. So I guess what you've said is that perfection doesn't really exist, but perfection is whatever's right for you. We all know nobody's perfect, but it's whatever's right for you. Okay. So Charles, we're going to come to you, and then Neil,
Exactly.
who posed the question, we're going to come to you.
And it will be different for everybody. So.
Okay. So Charles.
That's all right. Yeah, great. I think, yeah, perfection is subjective. So, yeah, something perfect for someone, maybe not perfect for somebody else, but if it's right for you, then that's your perfection. But I think sometimes when you're younger or naive, you can be just looking at this checklist. They've got to be this, they've got to be 6 foot, they've got to be driving a car, they've got to be a job, they've got to be having their own place, etc., etc. But then on the same reverse, look at yourself. What are you doing? You know, are you going to match that same energy? You got to be on that same vibration. So at the end of the day, no one is perfect. But if you guys are going to be working together towards perfection or towards your goals, and that they marry up together, then fantastic. You guys got to lift each other. Iron sharpens iron. So that's, I think, yeah, perfection can inhibit you, because sometimes you're looking for that unicorn. Yeah, that person's really bad. And sometimes you can even watch films, or you can watch people on social media now, which makes it even worse. It's like, oh, they're perfect. But is your front stage matching your backstage? You don't know what's going on back there. You don't know what's going on back there. So really and truly, really check your list and just make sure that you can build towards something. What are your negotiables and what are your non-negotiables?
All right, thank you for that. So Neil, just before we come to you, I think that's a really valid point, Charles, and people who are watching right now are basically saying a similar thing to what you guys have said. So Elisa Okwosa said, as we get older, we realize perfection doesn't exist. JJ said, oh my God, Daniel, you're so right. Not even our own list of perfections. Do we even meet the criteria we have on our list? I know Jeremiah has said in the past, like when women have their lists, it's like they're trying to open a bank account and then some, going through all layers of security. So do we actually meet what's on our own list? Lee Jasper said, thanks for joining us, Lee, by the way. Lee Jasper said, yes, 100% Daniel. Some people can change, but not to the extent that you'll become compatible. That's true.
Yep. And Lydia said, fact, people should be ready to accept people as if they will never change, and ask yourself, is that what you want?
Yep.
And Purple Moon Charles said, yes, Charles. Touch. And Carlene Thomas said, yes, match that. We also have Kwame. Hello, Kwame, my brother. Exactly, Daniel. And today's image-driven and profile persistent environment enables how a lot of women measure in order to seek that so-called perfection.
So I think we can safely say perfection doesn't exist. We know that. But it depends on what's right for you, and you shouldn't be looking to try and change anybody. We agree with that. So we're glad that you guys have kind of said that too. But we're going to let Neil.
So-called perfection. Say perfection doesn't exist.
All right. Can you mute yourselves, please, guys? Brilliant. All right. So we're going to come to Neil. Before we get to you, Earl, we're going to go to Neil. Neil posed the question, so we'd like to hear from Neil.
So these lists, and you see it a lot in the media. These huge lists. They've got to be this. They've got to be that. Successful car, house, whatever. Lists are a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure on you to find that person. And if you do find someone you might think fits the bill, it's a lot of pressure on them to maintain it. My big thing is be the reason. Be the reason for someone to change. So if I meet someone, I might want someone ambitious, for example. I might want someone confident, but I might meet someone shy and not ambitious. Be that person to inspire them. You know, Zoe, the reason we've worked so well is she's inspired me to be a better person. You know, we've worked together. You know, the ambition thing, I was a labourer when I met Zoe, and she was my reason. My son was my reason to make myself better and to succeed. And then you're on your way to perfection.
Thank you, Neil. So I think it's about the why, isn't it? It's not about trying to find perfection, but it's about the why, right?
Definitely, definitely. So Jeremiah and Stefan, have you got anything that you want to add to Neil's question? Jeremiah? Okay, Steph, is there a delay?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
You can hear me or you can't hear me? You can hear me. Yeah, I can hear you just about, yeah. Can you hear me? Is there a delay? Sorry, what was the question? Because I never heard it.
The question is, do you feel that the quest for perfection can inhibit our ability to meet a partner?
Absolutely. Absolutely. On both sides of the fence. Okay, let's start with ladies. You know, sometimes what they ask for is just unreal. It really is. And it puts a lot of pressure on any guy. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Women want two men, but they go past Clark Kent every day. You know, from time to time, I want a guy that's 6'2", that has a beard, that, you know, trains, earns 6 figures, does this, does that. That's half the popularity gone down. And if you don't match up to that, you're not getting that person. But then on the flip front, you know, can they match up to what that guy wants? Because that type of caliber of guy may not like what she has. So it goes in roundabouts. So some women, unfortunately, and I'm not to be like the bearer of bad news, some girls have to be, I wouldn't say like realistic, but you have to know your limitations for certain things. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes you can go with that type of guy, and I've seen girls go with the model type of guys and they don't get on. They look good on paper, but they're not compatible at all. You know, oh, he's too vain, he's too this, he's too that. But that's what you asked for. That's what you wanted. And now, as you know, as we get older, as you mature, like when I was growing up, all the nice girls wanted the bad boys. Now all the nice girl wants the good guys, but the good guys don't want those girls. So that's where we are at the moment, unfortunately.
Lord of mercy. Oh gosh.
All right, you gave us some source to work with there, Jeremiah. You gave us some real source to work with.
Valuable points.
All right, who else have we got in terms of inhibiting a relationship? Oh, I think, you put your hand up, didn't you? Let's see. Oh, did you put your hand up? You wanted to respond to come in on that?
No, I did, but Jeremiah just said it.
All right, okay.
He said what I was going to say. Yeah, so that's cool.
Okay,
that's cool.
okay. All right. Does anyone else want to add anything about looking for perfection inhibits you finding the right partner? Oh, Charles has got something to add. Okay, Charles, go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, I just think in terms of looking for perfection, you can have different examples. So men could, like, it goes for both. But for me, my personal example could be like when I was going, I said I don't want to marry a person that has a child already. But my wife has a child. She had a child before I came there. And I looked past that because I could see what she would bring to the table in terms of the purpose that it could match together, that what we could build. So, you know, sometimes don't always just look at those things or the material things that could inhibit you from actually getting your perfection.
But that's a valuable point that you just made there, Charles, because I find that people, you know, like, because we have like this list of this expectation of what we want in a relationship, we could actually be missing out on that perfect person for us because of this list. And I believe that Olivia made a point. She said, and even for the woman, you know, like when they have that list, do they even match it?
Yeah.
You know, and this is the thing, you know, and to be quite honest, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have standards. I do believe we should have standards out here, but sometimes the list is just a bit too unrealistic and you need to just dash it away.
Rip it up, throw it in the bin.
Throw it away.
Like, because I think back to Neil's point, what Neil said is if, you know, when he wasn't ambitious and had Zoe been looking for this perfect ambitious guy, he would have passed her by.
Yeah.
But now, you know, they've been together for 14 years. They've built a really solid foundation. So I think for everybody watching out there, we can have our ideal view of what we think we want, but you know what? Sometimes that can really inhibit you. So great question, Neil.
And to add to what you just said, Janelle, even with what Andre said, sometimes it's not about what you want, it's what you need. Neil needed a Zoe. We all need that person who we can then basically become the person that we're supposed to be. You know, so it's about what you actually need at that present moment.
That's it. Okay, should we move on to the next question? So we've got a question from Andre. Andre asked, how does or did what you look for in a partner mirror your overall life goals? So who wants to tackle that one? Put your hand up. All right, we'll come to you, Neil. Go on, Neil.
It was quite simple. I really haven't it. So it's fairly easy. I was young. I was just messing around, really. I was, you know, 19 years old, working on a building site. I had a level of ambition because, you know, my parents have always pushed me, but yeah, I just wanted someone that I connected with. I just wanted someone connected with, gone with. I think as the years have gone on, you know, someone that I could laugh with, someone I could be silly with, you know, all these types of things are probably what I wanted when I was younger, and that's matured into ambition. That's it matured into a deeper connection. That's matured into seeing the highs and lows. All those things developed because I started young. We didn't really have that kind of tie up. I think she probably had more goals than I did at that point.
Well, now you're winning together, so that's a wonderful story. Okay, who else? So is what you were looking for in a partner, Andre, I know that you asked the question, so let's just come straight to you. Is what you're looking for in a partner, or does what you did look for or have looked for in a partner mirroring your overall life goals?
Sorry, I
Andre?
just lost a little bit there. So yeah, yep. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Yeah. Cool. All right. So yeah, I asked that question. For me, it's a loaded question. Already had the answer locked, ready to go. I know where I want to go. My legacy. I know what legacy. I know what for a legacy. And having a life partner who's going to birth those children to carry on my legacy, it's got to be someone of a conscious mind, someone who's not necessarily walked a similar path to me. Can you guys hear me all right? I'm sensing a little, cool. All right. So yeah, not necessarily to a similar path to me, but someone who can relate and understand understand what it is I've been through, where it is that I want to go. So having that level of empathy, like I said, that level of consciousness. With that consciousness, you've got to have a certain level of education. And I don't mean book smarts, I mean understand, the historical side of things, the sociological side of things, how the world has got to where we are now, to know where we can push it to where we kind of want to be. Because I'm not going to want to make a global impact on thought in some way, shape, or form. Creating offspring to do that has to come from a certain type of person. I believe that, we all have a level of God in us, and that God is the creator, giver of life. And, if you go back to Bible, the Torah, the Quran, whatever you want to call it, it says God made man in his image. Why would I not do the same? So yeah, taking it deep, but that's what we're here for, right? So that lady has to fulfill certain criteria for me to continue my legacy in that respect. Got to have some form of care and level of respect for her physical vessel, which is what's going to carry her spiritual vessel or her spiritual entity. So yeah, that is why I asked the question, and that's where I'm coming from. I know everyone will have a different life focus and a different goal to me, but to answer my own question, that's what I look for. That's what I found. Anything falling short of that, I'm sorry, but we're not getting past the third date.
Wow, Andre, you're pretty deep, eh? I love your answer to your own question. So does anybody else want to add to Andre's question? So how does or did what you look for in a partner mirror your overall life goals? Charles, L?
Go on, L.
Yeah. So I'd say where I am today mirrors where I mentally wanted to be, but I only had that plan when I was about, let's say 2021. Because before then, I'm not even trying to take the mood down, but before then, I didn't think I would still be on the planet. So I had quite dark thoughts, and my teenage life, in terms of relationships, forget that. I wasn't in any relationships as a kid. So, you used to watch them old, them old videos like Blackstreet, and you see the guy chasing the girl, and that was me always imagining it, but I never really thought it would ever happen to me because of what was going on in my own personal life. So it was only when I got to 20 and I started working, and then you start planning little things here, there, and everywhere. And then before I knew it, I said, okay, what I'm going to do to stay in a more positive mindset for my life goals, I'm going to start mapping things out every 5 years. So I started doing these 5-year plans, and I started trying to match up what that woman would look like. Do you know what I mean? And all I really wanted was someone that cared about me. That was it. Because things, old relationships I had situations in school where twice, 2 girls asked me out because of a bet. So it's life, innit? It's what happens, innit? But 2 different girls asked me out because people betted them to do it, and then that wasn't their intention. So for me, I was always insecure about what if a girl moved to me, what do you really want? Do you know what I mean? That's where I was always coming from. Do you like me for me, or is it because I've got X, Y? You know what I mean? So my process was always when I met Claudine, my other half, the first thing I said is, what's your plan? What's your plan for the next 5 years? And we just talked. We reasoned, and we found that a lot of things were lining up. and then we built from there. And that's why I said to you, who I am today is partially because of her, because she started chipping away at all my insecurities, because I know that she's just down for me. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so now 3 kids, been together for a long time. We've got our own business. You know what I'm saying? Everything is marrying up and tallying up. So yeah, man.
So when's the wedding, Earl?
It's coming. It is coming. 100%. It's coming.
So the whole panel is invited to the reception, of course.
Yeah, of course, man. We're family now, innit? We're family. And you lot can do, you know what you lot can do? You lot can do that thing where you lot pin the money on us. I like that idea. Pin the money on us.
But make it rain. Well,
yeah, man. Yeah, man.
All right, thank you. Okay, so guys, we're conscious of the time. We're actually an hour in already. Can you believe that? There's so many comments and questions. So does anyone else want to answer that question before we start? Because it's been tame so far. We thought we'd have to keep the guys in line. Oh, Neil wants to come in. We thought we'd have to keep you in line, but you guys have been really tame so far.
So I just wanted to pick up on what Earl said. For me, the plan, as I said, when I was younger, when I met Zoe, I was a young guy, nice pair of tits, and I'm gone. But the plan now is so important. We set ourselves a 5-year plan. We sat down and we talked. Where do we want to be? And it could be business, it could be my career, it could be Zoe's career, it could be kids, it could be which house we want to be in. And to date, we've always hit the mark. We've always live on our goals, which is so important. And that just goes to cement us as well. It's like a team, isn't it? We've set a plan, we've delivered it. We've hit that marker, we set our next plan, we deliver it. And I've never had that before on this Zoe.
I love that, Neil. And I think it goes back to what Charles was saying. It's like a business. Do you know what I mean? You want to make that investment with that person. And obviously you want to build up some interest at the same time. So what's the point? Do you know what I mean? You want to be with somebody that's going to be, an investment, not a liability. So I so get what you said. I love that. And I'm taking that all on board for myself. So really, truly, guys, I'm just letting you guys know who's watching. This data that I'm collecting.
We're taking notes.
I've got the notebook. We are taking notes. And if you're single, you should do the same thing too.
The business thing, there's so many similarities. If you look at when you first meet someone in business, they do these tests when you start certain jobs. And we all have what's called a work mask. So how do I act at work? How do I act socially? So I don't know if you've ever heard of that before. But there's a lot of comparisons to jobs. When you first meet someone, you're getting the mask. You're getting the Facebook profile page. It's not until you give it some time that you find out really what someone's about.
And even what you're just saying, to add to what you just said, Adelaide, who's also on a live, I also saw on her Instagram, she also said that dating is about collecting data. So it's about asking those questions, because it's just like going to a job interview, isn't it? You should really be asking those crucial questions just to find out whether or not that person is going to be for you. But we tend to do things the other way. And yeah.
It doesn't always pay off when you go the other way around. So yeah, it's about collecting data. Charles, you've got your hand up. We're going to come to you right now. Okay, Charles.
Yeah, so just to echo on the point that what Neil was saying, yeah, it is a business, but also just remember it's your life. I know people that could go into relationships and they could get married so many times and so forth, but it's about your life at the end of the day and what is the total outcome. So that whole question is that, does that person marry up with my purpose? I told my wife that from the beginning, that this is what I'd like to do. I'm not looking to stay in this country. Like eventually I want to live, have a bi-coastal way of living, whether it's I'm going to be in Ghana, Senegal, or the Caribbean. Like that's how it's going to be. Or are you going to be able to hold it down for maybe 6 months or maybe up to a year where I'm away by putting in the work to solidify our future? Where do we go on our journey in making this happen? So it's really about that partnership. We're in a good place because that's the goals that we actually wanted to do, even from our planning to our wedding. Like Kaz, you were involved in that. You knew how that went. And it's just, for me, is that we can gel together and grow together as well. So yeah, it's about business, but you gotta have fun along the way as well. Like it can't be just all serious. Like there's got to be laughing, jokey. You got to enjoy life. You know, you really have to, because if you don't, it's not worth it. And it's got to be part. It's got to be past the sex as well. But I'm sure we're gonna get into that as well. Like mentally stimulating and that journey.
Okay, Andre's got his hand up, so we're gonna come to Andre. Go ahead, Andre.
So I just need to say, because no one mentioned it yet. So you can hear me now, right? No one's making any form of appreciation to the top that Earl is wearing right now. So
are you serious?
Before we move on, I just want to bring people's attention to that bad piece of top you're wearing. I see you, brother. I'm serious. I'm sorry, but it has to be said. We can move on now. I've said it. Everyone knows.
Could you please remove Andre? You've removed Andre from the group now, please.
Now I'm good. Now I'm good.
You need to leave.
All right, listen. We are conscious of time and we're going to keep it moving. We've got a really juicy question from Daniel Edwards coming up. And the question goes a little something like this.
Can you train a woman to become the woman you want? Sorry, Gina, I didn't mean to cut you, but I just had to ask because I'm just like, dude, how you gonna put that question out here?
So we're going to repeat it again. Can you train a woman to become the woman that you want? Train being the operative word. So who wants to tackle that first from the panel? No, everyone's shaking their heads. All right, let's go for Andre, and then we're going to come to Daniel, who posed the question. So go ahead, Andre.
Right, my view on this is short and sweet. So I'm going to use the word train as the operative word, as you said. Now, if you can train anyone to do something, that shows that you're at a superior level to them. Okay, so you're in a position of power. Now, that power is not equal, so therefore, it's not quite a mutual relationship, is it? Is that really what you want? And I could see by your smile, Daniel, that was a controversial question. You were digging for the controversy there, right? I see. But yeah, you can't. That's not a relationship. That's a transaction. That is a teacher pupil situation. It's not a relationship.
Please, pets. You train a dog. You train a cat. You can even train a monkey.
Yes, you see.
And you train a woman.
Exactly
that. Ask Daniel this question. Is that the reason why you're single? Because you haven't found that woman that you are trying to train?
Oh, by the way, shout out to my wife, Charlie, wherever you are, boo. I love you, my wifey. No. But I know a lot of people have that mentality. We see somebody and they're like, oh, he's just a diamond in the rough. I just need to polish him up a bit and then he'll be fine. Let me get it, let me squeeze this square peg into a round circle or whatever. So that's why I'm asking that, because that's another fallacy that is messing us up. Yeah, we're trying to train the person, and especially women see men and say, they sometimes they look at men as a project. You know, he used to be a dog, but not now. I'm gonna clean him up. Yeah, you clean them up for somebody else.
That's true.
Daniel, you actually got a valid point. You got a valid point.
It's true. Like we can, and women can get into that trap of thinking that they can change the guy. I wouldn't necessarily use the word train, but they can change him. Like, they feel that their cooking is sweet, or what they got between their legs is so sweet, or their words are so sweet, or they look so sweet that they can change the guy. But the guy that you have is the guy that you met. And like Neil said, the only way that somebody's going to change is if they meet somebody they want to change for. And in fact, I think we've spoken about this, Neil, before. It's about evolution as opposed to change. Danny, you wanted to come back in there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a significant percentage of my clients who are women who have these men like, Daniel, I have this new boyfriend, but he's a little rough around the edges. You can't just fix him up for me. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if that's the way to go about it. If he's your little project. Yeah. So Yeah, that's my
Oh
point.
yeah, no, but
Neil's got something to
so
say.
Neil's got. We're gonna come to Neil just now. So Neil, what did you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's all about the wording. And actually, Daniel, that was quite clever because you never actually said you agreed with that statement or question. You just posed the question. So, yeah, well,
Daniel's a bad man.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's in the words change. That change implies something's wrong. Something needs to be different. Whereas as soon as you get into evolve, develop, it's just a much better use of language, because it's not just about there's something wrong, I need to change it. There's something that could be better, we need to evolve or we need to develop.
Thank you.
Love that.
Anyone else want to add anything? So Charles, you want to come in? Go ahead.
Again, with like touching what Neil said, it is about development. It's an exchange as well. You can both teach each other different things to grow and get to the point where you want to. So yeah, I never would want for myself to actually have a partner where I have to train you up to get to a stage. But if I can educate or show you something different and vice versa, to have that exchange and that we can grow together, then that's beautiful. But yeah, training and having that dominative kind of, presence over your partner, I don't agree with.
Thank you, Charles. Jason, we're hoping that we can hear you now. So Jason, come in.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Finally, sorry guys, connection is bad. I don't know what happened, but
don't worry, you're here now.
What was the question? I think I can't. Can you repeat the question? I just said something about I heard Charles's last part of it. What was the question?
So the question from Daniel was, can you train a woman to become the woman you want?
Yeah. I think the word train. Basically, I think if you have to look at it from both sides, from my perspective, it goes back to my original question: what's the essence of relationships? I think it's all part of our journey and progression. I don't think you can train anyone. I don't think you can change anyone. I think we can complement each other and we can improve each other. I think that's the right word, improving and progression, because and also it's a partnership. And if it's a partnership, you're both going to learn from each other and you're going to move as one. It's more of a team effort. You're going to learn her strengths. She's going to learn your strengths. You're going to pick each other on the weaknesses. And I think that's the essence of, I wouldn't say train. I go back to relationships, because relationships prepares you for marriage or whatever your goals are. But I believe the first thing is we need to understand ourselves, have a blueprint, have a foundation. And then once we get that, it's a hard journey, or it's a long journey. But I do believe we can improve each other, which means we're going to reach heights we never even knew we could reach, or was in existence anyway. So in terms of training, I don't think you could train anyone. I think you can move, you can show people the way, and based on their foundation, you'd either move together or you separate, move in a different direction. So for me, but train, yeah, that's a bit of a yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jason. I'm going to read out a few comments because people are really intrigued by, especially Daniel's last question, the idea of training. He does run a consultancy and a male lifestyle brand, and is used to giving training. But whether or not you can train a human being to do what you want is a different story. But anyway, Charlie 6 said, can you train a man to become the man you want? That's a good question. It works both ways. Grace Crawford, Daniel, it must be someone you know. She said, Daniel, stop it. She's probably used to you being someone else said he's a troublemaker's here. That's Purple Moon Child. Winnie said, train a woman.
Wow, you train a dog?
Man of the Houses, Astrology said, train, like, that's so right. And Maria, I have to say I'm with you on this one. Maria said, no one is training me. Those potty days are over.
And she can use Pilot now.
But the fixing project, someone says, is a real thing. People, we are, especially women, we have to agree. Women do try and fix things. We have this habit of trying to fix things. And that means we can pick up a man who may not necessarily be a but we want to fix their life.
Or fix what we sometimes want, change the way we wear clothes.
That's true.
That's trying to change somebody. You never, it weren't wearing a Prada before, so why are you trying to change from the class to the?
But can you give them a bit of style? You can give a bit of style tips.
You can give style tips,
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
but
that's all right.
That's fine. But you just need to make that very clear. You need to say, babe, maybe these shoes will look nice with that trousers. You understand what I'm saying? As women, we've got a way of doing these things, but we're not trying to change you as such.
That's right. Okay, we really want to get juicy now. So somebody has said that men get bored of sex if a woman lacks character. So this is what we want to ask. How important is sex in a relationship? And how important is sex when you meet a woman? Guys, don't start blushing now, yeah? Because you got plenty to say on the matter. We want to hear it. So who wants to go first with that question? How important is sex? And this is a question from us, by the way. How important is sex in a relationship? And do men get bored of sex if that female lacks character? So I saw Earl's hand go up first.
I see Jeremiah's. Is Jeremiah, you putting your hand up? Oh, okay. So
Earl's on.
Jeremiah's on.
Yeah, it's. Listen, I know some of us on here might be diplomatic, man, but it's important.
How important?
It's important.
How is only like about 5% in a relationship? Like 100%, like 95 is based on a relationship character. 5%.
Did you say 5%
or something like that? I said it's just not that important.
Nah.
Is it important?
Nah, it's important. Personally, it's important because it's important for me. Like it's important. Listen, I reckon the guys will have the same answer because it's part of the package, isn't it? It's part of the package. So, mentally you could be great with someone, but the physical bit to me has to be there. It has to be there. And I feel that a lot of people will play like it's not important, but it is, because a lot of the time as well, people see people on the road or at a party or whatever else, that physical, that connection, that excitement, that has to be there. It's imperative. And I feel as well, if you build up that scenario, you build it up. Because for me, I'm not really one of those people that would be like say you met a girl in a nightclub, same night, bam. Nah, you want to build up to that moment. You want to tease that situation out. So by the time you get what you're getting, it's fire, it's pepper.
Woo!
You know what I mean? So that's where I'm coming from. And then it's about sustaining that. It's whether she's dressing up, whether you got food, whether you're hitting different venues. It's important, man. I don't care who don't agree with me.
Can I just say something? Kwame just said sex is very, very important. It's like breathing. Can't do without it.
So it's like air to oxygen. All right, we're gonna come to Jeremiah and then we're gonna go to Neil. Jeremiah, what's your thoughts?
Is it important? Absolutely it is. And if any guy says no, they're lying. However, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion only, there's two ways. There's the bang, where there's no feeling, it's just a physical act, and then there's making love. So I'll give you a little rundown. Basically, when I met a young lady a while ago, I wanted it to be something real. So I deliberately never hugged her, never kissed her, never did anything at all. I wanted to know her mind and her soul and where we were going. So I never, we went out for dates, we went out to the theatre, we went out to eat. And I think on the fourth date, she must have just said, like, where is this going? Where is this? And the way how she was coming to me and talking to me is like, like, you haven't touched me, you haven't kissed me. And probably from her point of view, because she was very beautiful, she's thinking it's weird. Like, I look nice. This guy I'm attracted to, but he doesn't come towards me. And it wasn't because I didn't fancy her, because I really did. But I put it off on purpose so that when it did come together, going on what Earl was saying, it means something so much more. So much more that she jumped me that night. But in saying that, it's just that it just means, and most women can do that because, like, I've practiced celibacy for almost up to 4 years. And the average guy cannot do that. As soon as they see legs, panani, tits, everything, they're after it. But those are from a low mentality. But when you're going when you're maturing, it's not all about that. But when you meet the right person and there's, you know, there's vibes and all that stuff. It means so much more. So yes, it is important. And when basically making love to one woman and making love to 10 is two different things. And only a mature man would know that, because you get to know the person's body. You get to know what makes her do this, what makes her do that, what gives her an orgasm, what gives her a double orgasm, what makes her squirt, what makes her do all these things. And let's be honest,
Did you say
you women know that there's a difference between good sex. Hold on. So, no. So you know there's a difference between good sex and bad sex. And we all know, because you women are chatty patties, when there's bad sex, you girls would scandal the man. You would expose him like Kodak. But when he does good sex, you're exposing him even more. But my advice on that is don't tell too many girls, because if they're not getting that, your man's in the firing line. So that's all I've got to add on that. But yes,
Okay, so then this comes to my part now.
It is.
I know it's about you guys. I do, but I'm a single woman. So why do men cheat then? Is that the reason why?
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go. Jeremiah first. You got your hand up. We're going to come to you afterwards, Neil, because Neil's been waiting.
Sorry, what was the question again, ladies?
I don't know what the question is. Remove him out the group.
No, there's a delay.
We're joking. We're running back, man.
Okay.
So why do men cheat was the question. The question was, why do men cheat? But I want to go back to the sex question with some other guys. But why do men cheat?
Because they can. And because it's an ego thing. If we're being honest, it is an ego thing. You know, I've got this here, but I want to bang this thing here. Do you know what I mean? Because there's no feelings involved. It's like a bank job, in and out. I'm looking to bang, you know, do my thing and dust. That's all it's about, if people are being honest about it. Sometimes there is things missing from relationships. I'll admit that, and some guys will. Hence why marriages break down. But for the most part of it, yeah, you would do it. Now, here's why do ladies stick with it? Because the most a woman would ask you is like, oh, do you love her? Do you feel for her? And the guy will be honest, no, it was just a bang. That's it. Just in and out. And because there's no emotional feeling, then yeah, what's it called? Okay, I can take you back, because most women do. However, when it happens to the guy is distraught because all the emotions in it. And if his girlfriend's a freak, that's the last thing he wants to think about. His girl giving some other guy all the goodies. He doesn't want that. The thought of that and his face, it destroys him as a man.
Yeah, but then that's equally the same as a woman. If a man is like a freak in the bed and that's her thing, yeah, and he goes out then he give it to some next, whether or not there's any emotions attached to it or not, it's still gonna mash up a woman.
Somebody on the chat said chemistry is important. Jeremiah, we're gonna come back to you. Hold that thought. We're gonna see what Neil has to say. So Neil, the two questions so far were, how important is sex, and is it the most important thing? And then the second question was, why do men cheat?
Okay, I'll address both points separately. So yeah, look, for me, sex is so important. And over the years, I've trained Zoe that's important to her too.
Did he say train? Yeah. Did he say train? Yo, I think we need to remove your group.
But again, to echo Earl, over the years, our sex has just got better and better. It's just got better and better. Now, that takes me on to why men and women cheat. I still look at Zoe. We've been together married 14 years, together 20 years. I still look at her getting changed in the morning, and I get a lot of them. I find her that attractive, right? That's not to say that I don't find other women attractive. Of course I do. She finds other guys attractive. Of course she does. She might even find other girls attractive. But ultimately, the thing for me is you talk. You talk about sex. You know, we talk about what we like. We talk about what turns us on. As soon as you don't talk about it and it becomes routine, it's boring and you're going to look somewhere else.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Neil.
That's great.
I think what you've said there about communication is key. I mean, we've spoken about this on our show. you know, in a relationship, sex is fundamental. I mean, someone else, Lucky Lloyd said, sex is important, but it's not enough to keep a relationship. It requires a high level of skill to stay in a fruitful relationship. I think, Neil, what you've said is about the communication element, the honesty, and the fact that you guys have grown together and you understand each other's bodies. I think it's beautiful to know that you still find each other attractive after 20 years of being together, after 14 years of marriage. That's wonderful. And I guess if the essence kind of goes out of the relationship, you kind of just lose it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, Daniel had his hand up, so we're going to come to Daniel.
All right, guys.
What have you got to say on the subject, Daniel?
I wanted to just get a violin playing right now. Let's imagine a violin playing. I just wanted to say, guys, that the real reason why well, first of all, what was the first question? How important is sex?
Yes.
Yeah, like the air we breathe. With the other one, with the cheating, why do we cheat? It's not our fault.
Did you just fall on? Did someone just fall on top of you, or you just picked up?
Just listen to the violin. Playing. It's not our fault. We're just victims of biology. Also, there are more women than men. I mean, we have to serve a need. We also have to populate the world. Thirdly, women are seductive demons. We're just
demons. No, take it back. Removing.
Here comes Sophia. So what am I to do? I have no choice, and that's it. We're victims.
So you're just a helpless, hapless male, a victim of nature. Okay, ladies, his name is Daniel Edwards, lives in Jamaica.
I'm a slave to my biology. I can't help myself. Where am I?
All of you people that's watching from Jamaica, I think you need to put posters right there, like a commercial to stay away from this dude.
All right, who else wants to give their opinion on how important sex is to them in a relationship and why men cheat? Don't be shy, guys. Charles, so we pick on some individuals?
Yeah,
how important is sex in a relationship and why do men cheat? Go on, Charles.
Did I put my hand up?
No.
In the group.
All right. Okay, so is sex relation, is it very important? Yes, it's very, very important. I can touch a bit about my own personal experience with that. So myself and my wife, we were in a relationship prior to being married. Everything was good, and we've been friends for a long time, and we knew each other on that level, but taking the time to get to know one another. But as relationship goes, you evolve, and in that, like, my sex with my wife or my partner back then, very important to me. That was my way of showing her how much I loved her, you know, and it was really good. But then we'd evolved, and she started growing spiritually. So she converted to, she was born again to a Christian, yeah, born again. And in that time, as she was growing, there were certain things that she wasn't going to do, which was going to be like sex, and she was going to become more holy and clean. And that really frustrated me. That really did. But I also saw the growth, that the higher level that she was going to as well, and the things that God was doing in her life, and the same with myself. But ultimately, we broke up because of it. We did broke up, but I was born again as well. I got baptized, and even though I understood what the word meant, it hurt me at the same time. But sex is very important, because, and it becomes much more important for me, and I'm talking for me and for other Christians, is that it's based on the word, is that your wife is there for you to enjoy, you know. So having that lesson, it enabled me to grow a lot more, and my wife to grow a lot more, and we learned more about each other, and what God was building for us in the future. Because if you base things just on sex, your relationship is built on a house of cards, and when that tumbles, if the sex goes, you're done. So there's other things like the communication, you know, spiritually, your goals, where you want to go, what is your purpose. Really and truly, that's what you have to focus on. So that sex is very important at the bottom line of the question, but there's different ways and different things at how you go about it, knowing your partner intimately and growing on that process. And yeah, our sex life has been excellent and amazing, and it continues to evolve and grow. And that's really great that you can enjoy it with just one person. Based on why men cheat, I think why men cheat is because they're trying to look for something else that is not in that relationship that they possibly have, or it's an ego thing that they can do it because they can. Don't get me wrong, there's lots of women that are out there, very attractive. You know, we're going to be real, we're human beings. We can be attracted to things that either give us attention or we look with our eyes, you know, and if we see that thing and there's an opportunity, then you can be tempted to go that way. But I think that's the reason why men cheat, and everybody's in a different situation as to why they would, and it's seeking to understand why they do.
But can I just add to that? Well, not even add, I don't even know what to say, but thank you, Charles. But what about if a man is not necessarily cheating, he's just come from like a bloodline where he just likes pure women and he wants to have more than, say, one wife? Because even when you look in the Bible, we look at, say, King Solomon, he had a whole heap of wives, he had concubines and everything else. And, you know, so what do we have to say about that? I mean, because you do have men that just wants to have different houses all over the place.
All right, we'll come to Jason first. Jason, because Jason, you haven't said much just yet because of your connection problem. So Jason, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was going to just speak about what Kaz said in regards to men having multiple wives. My person growing up, my dad's dad, I think, had maybe 10 or 13 wives. I can't remember, but he had more than 5.
Jason? Just
but what he did, well, my dad's Nigerian, my mom's Jamaican, but I grew up in Nigeria through my teen years. So the most important time of my life that I think was between 8 and 18. That's when I grew up in Nigeria. So everything I learned was African culture. Now, as I said, my dad, however, just married my mom. Well, my granddad had more than 5 wives, but they all had their place. They all knew where they were. So they knew the first one to the 12th one, but he all treated them the same. But there's this thing in the culture where the new one is then the one you give the attention, but the first one or the 5th one is, they're aware. Everyone's aware that you're going to have more than one wife or you're going to marry someone else. So that's different. When you talk about somebody wanting to have women all over the place or have kids all over the place, and you know he loves women, that's something totally different. For me, it's a foundation that and we're also taught this in school, very important in Nigeria. We're taught about the extended family, the nuclear family, and the traditional family, which means you can have the traditional one wife, you can have more than 2 wives, you can have 3 wives, and in some culture, it's the way of it. However, the thing they do is they honor those women, which means they marry them, and they're aware of it. Now, I think they're both different, and I just wanted to address that to say, if you're going to do that and you just want to do it for fun, or you know, you're not honoring that woman, as they will call it in Nigeria, you're not marrying her and she doesn't know what she's getting married to, that's something totally different. But in Nigeria, it's a case of whether you want to do it culturally and you're aware of it. So that it's very different. For me, I can't marry more than one wife. I have my wife and that's it. I'm in love with my wife. I can't have another wife because I don't know how my granddad did it. It's too much work, you know, for him to have 3, 4 wives, and he had kids with every single one of those women, and he looked after those kids. Everyone had a house, everyone had an apartment. Here, I see something different. I just see what Kaz says, which is, to me, it's very difficult to digest sometimes when I'm looking at it or hear it, because as I said, that time of my life where I was growing up looking at men, there was a responsibility about it. Like, I am going to have five women, but I'm going to marry them all. I'm going to have kids. I'm going to look after all of them. So for me, it's a different concept when I look at things. And it's the same thing if I speak to my friends that have grown up in Nigeria. Majority of them, if they were in the same situation, that's what you only know what you know. And then, you know, having these sort of conversations, you tend to see where people are coming from, and you take what's going to benefit you, or what you're going to learn, the wisdom you want to get. So I just want to address the difference between, you know, from the culture, from where I grew up and what I seen and what I seen in this so-called Western world. It's totally two different things. And that was my contribution.
Thank you, Jason. But what I do want to say in regards to what you've just said, you touched on some valuable points in terms of your culture. This is what you've seen, this is what you've been taught, etc. However, in the West, you know, when you look at how Black people came there and what we went through, I don't want to make the show all deep like that, but what men went through, they were there to impregnate so that we can produce more slaves. So that's like a generational thing that's being, you know, passed down to generation of, say, men and women, that they act in a certain way. So that could be still something like, say, some kind of a trauma that one may need to deal with. Hence the reason why they keep on repeating a certain kind of behavior to what they've been taught, what they've been oppressed to be able to do. Yeah. So, you know, we do have to bear that in mind.
That's true. Well. And I just want to add a couple of things. Like Lloyd said, men cheat because the relationship fails. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but that can be the case sometimes. But I think going back to what the guys admitted themselves, I found speaking to guys about men and cheating is that most of the time it's something that they feel that's lacking in themselves, and they want instant gratification and validation, and it's linked somehow to ego as well. Some guys, we're not talking here about people who are just sexually free and they're not in a relationship and they're honest. We are talking about somebody who says they're in a relationship who is then going out and doing the dirty on their partner. I think one important thing that you mentioned, Jason, about polygamy, because polygamy and cheating are two different things. You mentioned polygamy. Polygamy is in some cultures and in some societies. And the important thing you mentioned there is that each wife is respected equally and each family unit is given the same as the other. So guys, listen, if you feel you can handle polygamy, that you better be taking care of every single wife equally and taking care of all of those kids that you have in all of those families. Otherwise, it ain't polygamy. It's just you wanting your cake and eating it. Just to make that very clear. Daniel has his. Do you want to say something, Daniel? He wants to say something. All right, we're going to come to you right now, Daniel. What do you want to add?
Oh, I have it all planned out. 5 wives. We're going to live on a commune. A green self-sustaining commune and everything. They'll all have their different quarters. I will have the schedule with each one. I can see it all now. It's going to be great. We're going to have a farm.
All right, any takers out there who want to join Daniel's commune? He's looking for 5. Put your applications in the comment box.
But Daniel, you type and train 1. So how are you going to do with 5? All right, drop me running.
So someone else said, JJ said, interestingly enough, JJ said, when it comes to sex, training is very much back on the table. So I guess what she's trying to say is if you want it good, then you might need to train your significant other into the ways that make you. Okay, Andre's got something to say. Andre?
Okay, on that, is that training or is that developing and evolving as a partner, where one's raising the other to a similar level, or you're both raising yourselves to a higher level, to that level where you want to go? Because in a relationship, we're talking about, you know, in that emotional, physical bond, the emotional's got to be on point, but then so is the physical. And if you want to be hitting peaks on both. So, you know, like Jeremiah was saying, you know, can you, exact, sure, you know what, let's run with it. Can you take your lady to the absolute peak in every single way, shape and form? And it does involve the physical. So sex has to be important. Teaching someone to open themselves up sexually, or should I say encouraging someone to open themselves up sexually while you're doing the same. Can't really call it training. Again, you're in a mutual you're on a mutual standing. So it's not training, it's taking someone to where you want to go.
I think I agree with that, but let's use another word: teaching or showing or guiding or nurturing.
That can't run in a relationship. Nah.
But okay, so let me just put the question to you. I may know what works for me to make me have an orgasm. Yeah? How's my man gonna know that if I don't tell him?
Exactly. and it has to be on the table. You have to explore yourself. You have to know yourself. Bring that
I've
into
done
a
all of
relationship.
that. I know all of that, Andre. I've done all of that already.
Okay, right.
My personal research done already. So now, for the man to know what he has.
Yeah, so he has to know something. He has to know similar to what you know. That's first of all. Because if he doesn't understand it, it's not going to happen. But
why can't
now
I
he has
him?
Okay, cool. What you can? Of course you can tell him. Of course. I mean that is the shortcut. But
yeah, that's
it's
what I'm saying.
It's not so much as a sit down at a table and look, press this button here. After this button, press that button. When my toes curl, press this button. That's not how it goes. No. You just explore. You explore as you go. That's it. You can have that chat. You can have that chat without words, we'll say. But again, you have to be very intuitive. You have to be keyed in to understand body language. I think I think there's a bit of both. I think if you are really comfortable with your partner, like back to Neil's point, all round you need to communicate, and that goes in the bedroom as well. And if I like something, I'm gonna say I like that, and if I don't like something, I'm gonna tell you I don't like it. Exactly.
I don't expect you to read my mind or think that you've studied every single book on sex, the joy of sex and the Kama Sutra, and that you'll know what works for me, because I'm an individual, and equally I want to know what works for the partner as well. Daniel's got his hand up, so we're going to come to Daniel.
There is a thin line. There's a thin line between tweaking and we call it nudging your partners in the right direction and forcing the chemistry. Thin line. So you meet somebody, the thing is just off. From the first kiss, it's just off. And you're there, no, let's try that. No. There must be some level of chemistry. And then now with the chemistry now, you improve on it. But when there's like no chemistry, I don't know if you can just train somebody into the lover you want. And I think that can lead, that's what you call it, a portal to nowhere.
Okay.
So they at least a little foundation of good chemistry. And then now you can say, well, touch us on our little things, but then you should at least have some level of intuition naturally, I think.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your contribution. We're going to come to Jeremiah. He's had his hand up a few times. Jeremiah, we're going to try and change the show a little bit so we can see you. Go ahead.
Yeah, just to add really what I was saying before, it comes down to communications on both, but it also, from my experience, with the other person, it depends on how comfortable they are. Like if we're all honest, you would do something with one person, but you wouldn't do it with the other person. So it's how comfortable they make you feel and how comfortable you can get to how you want to feel. Some people, like when they're making love, they don't feel connected to that person, so they're not going to really, enhance to how they want to do. But when someone else is doing something else to them, they really come into their own and then they express themselves. And that's all lovemaking is. It's expressing yourself without making you feel judgmental on it. So like if you're used to, let's say, doing something with somebody and then you get exposed or you do something with someone else, after you've been exposed to it and you like it, you really can't go back to how it was because you've actually evolved now. And that's all it is. It's just evolving. And it's also being in tune in both of your bodies, because let's be honest, when a man or when a woman makes a man feel good and vice versa, sometimes it's very, I wouldn't say it's hard to leave, but it becomes a very important bit of the relationship, a very important bit of it all. So that's very important for both people because that's what keeps people together in some circumstances.
All right, Jeremiah, thank you very much. I'm just going to read out a few more comments. So JJ said, for Andre, I think Andre's still with us. Oh no, he's disappeared for a bit, but he'll be back. JJ said, he's there. Okay, JJ said, Andre, people don't have time for the exploration without words that you're talking about. Some people need to be trained / guided / I would say cajoled / encouraged Okay, so that's JJ's comment. Sharif said, make each other better, improve each other, and the word train shouldn't even exist in a relationship. 1000% agree with that. Daniel, Purple Moonchild said they agree with you, and if there's no spark from the beginning, it's no go. So chemistry is important. It's actually chemistry over sex. You have to have the chemistry there. If you don't have it, it's dead, isn't it? It's dead. And some people try to force that chemistry, Daniel. You're right. Like they meet, you might meet somebody and you think, oh, they're good on paper, and then the spark isn't there, but they're trying to create that spark. But that vital ingredient was missing from the beginning. Lucky Lloyd said, sex becomes less important to most married couples when your concerns about leaving a legacy for your children. Right. I wanna know if that's true. Sex becomes less important to most married couples when your concerns are about leaving a legacy for your children. So basically, your priority is with your kids and not in your bedroom. Neil's got his hand up, so let's come straight to Neil.
That's a really interesting point, and I was just thinking, we're all young, handsome, virile men, but as you get older, what does a 90-year-old whose partners died 5 years ago look for? Are they looking for sex? They're looking for companionship. They're looking for connection. So I think what we need changes over time. I think with the providing for your children, building a legacy, I think you can have both. You know, I think you have to make time for each other in a relationship, whether it's time to talk, whether it's time to have sex, whatever it might be. You need to make sure you've got that time, because how can you build a legacy with someone that you don't connect with, don't bond with, don't have sex with?
I think that's hugely important. I mean, certainly from my perspective, and we've spoken about this before on our show, sex is a really important exchange, and it actually is something that should be considered quite spiritual. When you're younger, you might want to be going out here, there, and everywhere, and just everywhere you can get it. But the older you get, is the greater appreciation you have of it, and the greater an understanding you have about the importance of it, and that it's not for everybody, and you shouldn't be for everybody. You shouldn't share your energy with everybody and be receiving all of that energy.
But then say that, yeah, sorry, go on, Neil.
But don't get me wrong, it is a good question, because there are times when it just rolls over and tells me to fuck off. So yeah, I totally get the working hard, tired, etc., etc.
Yeah, so on that point, from Lucky Lloyd, I don't agree with that on a personal level. I don't agree with it. I can see why some people would do that, because obviously to leave a legacy, you've got to procreate. Okay? I'm all about a legacy, and I'm all about procreating. Trust me, I want to be creating kids, but I'm also about my things. Okay, if I ain't get my things, it can't run, and my lady's gonna have to keep up with me, because boy, I got an engine. Yeah, I'm strong, fit, and I don't play. So she has to keep up with this. It's non-negotiable. So sex is just as important as my legacy at this time of my life.
We're gonna come on to it. We've probably got about 15 minutes or so left, right? And we've got a few more questions we'd like to get into. But Andre, do you respect the moments whereby she may not just want to be intimate like that because she is tired or she's not feeling well? And I'm not saying this is an everyday routine occurrence where every day she's got a headache, but there are going to be moments where the two of you might not be up for it. Will you respect that? Will that be a problem?
Of course, because that's part of the harmony of the relationship. And when she's not feeling it, trust me, I know. She don't even have to tell me. And likewise, she'll know when I am physically just too tired or I'm too preoccupied mentally to consider getting into that bond, because not trying to give away too much of the relationship, but when we connect, we fully connect. It's very rare we have a little boom boom and go on. That's just not how we do it, which is why we get on so well.
Soundproofing. What? Sounds like
we're good. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, but yeah. So we can appreciate that without having that conversation, and that is part of our harmony. We have that. We just know, and we've got so much time behind us. We've got infinite more time ahead of us, so we're not going to get down when something can't run at that moment. So
Purple Moonchild, this is interesting. Okay. What do you do if she can't keep up? You said it's non-negotiable.
If she can't keep up, she's not my lady. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If she can't keep up with me on a conscious conversation, she's not my lady. I'm
So it's
sorry.
all levels. It's all
every
arenas, that's
level.
what you're saying.
And I have that expectation of myself. I have that expectation. So I've got to be able to keep up with her in her areas. So it's all round. I'm not expecting that just from my lady. And I just kick back on my feet, getting my things when I want, having a plate dash on my table. That's not how it works. No, it is completely not equal. So I give just as much as I expect.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying that. So on the point then, this is a question that I'm really intrigued about. I've heard it from some guys before. Given that most of the time, and I don't want to generalize, but men tend to, because of their biological makeup, have more of a sex drive or are more always on it for sex than women. Do you think that there is a pressure on men? Do you feel pressured to perform? So when it comes to sex, do you feel the pressure and anxiety? Oh my God, my performance has got to be great.
I feel there is a pressure for men to perform. I don't feel that there is pressure for me to perform because of the homework that I've done over my adult life. I've got that. That's just in my repertoire. I have that. So yeah, I don't feel that pressure because I've made sure that I've armed myself to handle that pressure I felt when I was a teenager growing up. Didn't even know what an orgasm. I didn't even know how to spell orgasm. So I made sure I did that homework, studying hard before I got there. By the time I got there on my first time, I knew exactly how to ride that bike. I was good. So yeah, but it's a conscious effort, and it's something that I've built on as I've grown. So the kid that I was when I was little bit then, I've constantly evolved, but consciously as well.
Let's see what. So you got it on point from the sounds of things, right? You got it down. Let's hear from the other guys. I saw Jeremiah with his hand up. We're going to come to Jeremiah, then we'll come to you. What, Jeremiah? Do men feel pressure?
Sorry, I was giggling. No, you know what is the comments that is going.
Ignore the comments.
It's like another show on the other side. Literally.
Literally a sideshow. Right, Jeremiah, do men feel pressure to perform?
Yeah, some do. Okay, some, it's a 50-50. Some do and some don't. The ones that do are not quite sure on what they're doing. Yeah, and the ones that don't, like how Andre explained, knows exactly what they're doing. So when you're confident and you know what you're doing, you're not under any pressure. It's just they're along, you two are connecting and you're making love. When you're not sure what you're doing, or if there is no feeling, then there is, when you don't care, there is kind of like pressure, if that makes sense.
All right, let me ask you a question.
When you want to, yeah, go on.
Let me ask you a question. So I hear what you're saying on that level. You're in sync. You know each other. You've done your homework. You haven't just taken your training from what's that called again? YouPorn or whatever the site is called. I don't know. I don't watch whatever.
I don't. I'm serious. I don't. I used to, but I don't now.
Anyway, the question is, you might be all good in that area, but one day you come and you're tired, but maybe you're in a new-ish relationship, or you're in an established relationship, and your woman's feeling all sorts of horny that night, and she wants you to perform, but you're tired, so you know that your performance may be compromised. Do you feel the pressure in that scenario?
It just went quiet. You just lost a minute.
He said no. Okay.
Standard
I said no. Okay, so I didn't hear that. But Charles is what he's saying.
All right, Charles, what's your thoughts?
So, can you just repeat the question that you just said?
The question is, so there were two. Well, the question right now is: do men feel the pressure to perform? Is there anxiety? So you have to make sure your performance is good every time for your wife.
Okay. Yeah, there can be a pressure. Just to make sure you don't start what you can't finish. So really and truly, like when you step in that arena in the bedroom with your partner, you want to make sure that my objective is just to make sure that I can please her and that she's satisfied. That's it, 100%, and that's reciprocated as well. So I think that's very important when you're actually doing it. As a man, you just need to make sure. But then on the flip side as well, the woman could feel that way. They might feel pressured, just like, oh, I don't know if I can actually satisfy my man as much. But and there was another question that you said. What was the other question?
Oh gosh, I can't remember now.
About the partner being tired.
Oh yeah, would you respect that? So your partner may. I'm not saying your partner doesn't match your libido. I'm just saying that on an occasion you might be well up for it, but your wife might have just like been up from 6 a.m., dealt with all the kids, not feeling too well, bloody blah. And she says, "Babe, tonight I'm just really tired." How would that make you feel?
Well, I could empathize with that in terms of what they've done, but also remember that can happen in reverse to men as well. So, you know, I think there needs to be a level of understanding in terms of when that actually happens on both sides. And, you know, because there's always that conception of that, all right, men always have a higher sex drive. Women can have a higher sex drive than men in some cases. And it's like, well, no, you're not on it because you might be pressured at work or you're tired and so forth. So therefore, I think there should be a leeway for both. But just understand that when I'm going to be there in the bedroom, I'm going to deal with the matter in terms of what has to be done. And that's how it should be. I think it's reciprocated that you both want to perform your best. That's it.
I love that. It's about pleasing the other. So the intention should be for the other. If you've both got that intention, you'll get to the right place. Cass is just going to read out a comment.
Yes, I've just seen a comment from Lucky Lloyd, and he says most men are not pressured about sexual performance. They're pressured for having emotional intelligence towards a sexual journey with the person who starts catching deep feelings.
Very interesting. Right, Earl's got his hand up. Earl's been patient. So Earl, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say I disagree a little bit with that because I think men are under pressure. I think a lot of us probably don't admit it, but I grew again. I'm a 90s child. I grew up with Patra. Patra's telling us we have to go an hour minimum. And that's, you know what I mean? That's
I think Beanie
that's what she was telling us.
I think Beanie
So
tried it, right, as well.
Yeah, right. So for me growing up, that was like I didn't know much as a teenager. So that my benchmark was dancehall music. So they're telling you have to do this, you have to do that. So that was my journey. So it's pure pressure. It's pure pressure. And even now, as an adult, what I will say is that I put myself under pressure to always hit a certain level all the time. If she's not satisfied when the game's over, then I've not done the job. You know what I mean? I've not done the job. And I think every man should put that in their head. Don't just go in there for yourself and cut, because if you do that, trust me, if you ain't making her shake, a next man out, she's gonna go gym. She's gonna go gym and she'll find someone to make her shake.
New friend.
Joe Grant out the road.
But it's a service, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying.
Serving one another.
Trust
That's
me.
how I see it. It's a communion. You're serving one another. So
Yeah.
you aim to satisfy that person, you know? You're aiming to please. So Neil had his hands up, and then we're going to go over to Andre.
Yeah, I was just going to say, definitely at the start, when I was younger, definite pressure. And I think the youth of today, they've got, you mentioned YouPorn. You know, what are the kids watching these days? You know, guys with massive schlongs going for hours. We're past pressure. So I'd love to say, I need to get the book off Andre, because I'd love to say I perform amazingly all the time, but I definitely don't. You know, we have different love making to suit a different need. So we have the love making where we put an hour aside to have that time together where I can make sure that I make her happy. Of course I want to make her happy, but we also have the quick before the kids get up, you know? So we have different ways of doing it to suit different scenarios.
I think you know, that's a really important point that you've made there, Neil, that in a marriage, especially with kids in a home, there are going to be other priorities, and it may not be the same kind of love making all the time, but you know what works for you at that particular time. So it might be the quick before the kids get home, or it might be the you run the bath and set the candles and you know, petals and whatever else.
Good as well.
All right. For both people, that is true. Okay, who else had their hand up on this one? Andre. And Jason and Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel's very quiet, and that's not like Daniel. So we're coming to Daniel in a minute. Jason, we're going to come to you in a minute. Andre, go ahead.
Yeah, I totally concur. The focus should be on her first. You know, you're a gentleman. It should be ladies first. Men, invariably, it doesn't take much for us to get off. We just know that. Yeah, it's literally serve the lady first. When she's happy, when those toes have curled, when the bed becomes a swimming pool, when people scream their lungs out, then you let your things go. Yeah. Until then, just hold it together.
But what if he can't?
You know,
what if he
use
can't?
other apparatus if you need to, but use other apparatus. There are many different body parts you can use. There are toys you can incorporate. If you know you've got a problem, find a way around that problem. Why are you going to keep pursuing on that same problem, hoping for a miracle that just like, oh yeah, it's all better now. Maybe next time it's going to be good. No, you ain't done nothing about it. You ain't done nothing about it. No, do something about it. The reason why I know I can go hard, even when I'm like dog tired, is because I keep my body in the best physical shape possible. And that's what I would like from my lady as well. Keep yourself in an optimum shape, because that when we are tired, when we're not feeling it, the sex drive is still high and we are healthy as fuck. Sorry. Yeah.
But Andre, I have to pick you up on that point, and I hear you about the physical conditioning. That's important, and as a former athlete and a coach, you know that's going to be foremost for you, right?
What benefits of the job? Yeah.
But the biggest organ for sex, the most important organ for sex, is the brain. So if that brain, if that woman's mind, she could be tip-top condition, like she could be like, you know, I'm out here because she's been squatting for days and weeks, and you know everything is in proportion. But if her brain isn't in the right place, i.e., the kind of where her mind is at, then she's not going to be interested. That's for most women. You know, I'm not sure if it's the same for men, but for most women. So it's not just about that physical conditioning; it's about the mental, spiritual, emotional.
Most certainly, and as for in that relationship, as in that partnership, as the other part of that partner, whether it's the man or the woman that's stressed, it's how can you come in, ease that stress, show them that love, give them that energy where they feel like they're lacking, that energetic transaction, soothe them, give them that mental love, then give them the physical love, and then you are creating that space for them.
So what about intimacy and can you be intimate without having sex?
Of course, absolutely. And I challenge people who don't believe it to be as physically intimate as you possibly can. Do not penetrate. And I guarantee you that will raise your intimacy to levels you have never perceived before. Try it. If you don't believe it, try it. 100% can and should be done.
You sound like an advert just then, but Kalot said not every man is Hugo, Andre. That's not realistic.
That's right. And Kwame said, Janelle, I said that about the brain before. I know, Kwame, but you know what? We're really happy. We've got so many comments, but I can't see them all. There's so many. Average, sorry. So he said, from my experience, men from the US are far more into marriage. I can't even say always the bridesmaid, never the bride, because none of my UK girlfriends have ever been married. Average, so he said that. Kwame said exactly so, Andre. Experience teaches wisdom. Like I said, tongue, finger, or any other appendage or toy or apparatus.
You just have to get creative.
Right, we've got a couple more questions.
Okay, so, all right. So Charles asked a question. He said, could you forgive your partner if they cheated on you?
All right, we're going to come to, so Daniel, you just made a sign. So Daniel, speak. Daniel, you're up.
All right, so Kazanai, let me just give you my answer. One word, 2 words, Scorpio male.
All right, no. For those who don't know about signs, you have to say. So a partner cheats. It's a no from you. All right, Daniel, drop the mic.
Scorpio, we don't deal with no kind of cheating. And cheating is all text and
okay, that's a whole next subject.
no text, yeah, yes, no texting, no. I was in the moment, so I kissed him. No, it's over. It's
There's
over. We're
no
done.
coming
We're
back
done.
for you.
We're done. No coming back. But no. I mean, no necessarily no drama. Don't know. So this is the mature Daniel. No
Maybe
drama.
maybe she
but we're gonna
shit
part
like when
ways.
you trained her.
Hey. No, we're not gonna have that. First of all, I represent the divine masculine, so my queen is treated impeccably. So if she does cheat,
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Neil's got his hand up. So Neil.
Yeah, I would agree with Daniel, but I think as long as you live by the same rules, do you know what I mean? As long as if I'm with Zoe and I get caught on the hop texting someone, I can't expect her not to. I can't, you know, we've got to have that same mutual respect for each other. But yeah, 100% agree. It's not, as soon as the trust is gone, relationship's done.
That's true. Once the trust is gone, it's very hard to come back from that. That was a question you just touched on. A question that a follow-up question we're going to ask, right? Which is why is it okay for men and women take men back, but as soon as it happens to a man, like Daniel said, they're off.
And then it sets us to forgive them.
Yeah.
Why is that?
All right, we're going to come to Jason. Jason's got his hand up. Jason.
Yeah. I was just going to say, you never know how you're going to act until you're in the situation. So most of the time when you say, nah, we all have friends or we know people that have been in similar situations and they've got back together. So until you're in it, you don't know. I can sit here and say, no, but I might get to the point and say, oh, you know, you might reach an understanding. Basically, it's a question that you never know until you're in it. It's like we always say never, and then we end up doing certain things. So I would say until you're in the situation, I know a lot of people that have been through it and they have actually got back to them being stronger than what they used to be. So it's a hard one. I would say you can't give an answer until you're in it. I mean, some people are going to say no straight off the bat, but if we're being realistic, we never know.
Thank you, Jason.
But Sharif said in the comments, cheating is not solely related to black men. It applies to all men. That's true. I agree.
Okay, so do all men cheat? Who wants to say? We see heads going like this. All right, we'll take that as a no. So that's an assumption that all men cheat. Do all men cheat at some point in their life? Let me add that in. Who wants to say yes or no? Neil?
So I've had girlfriends that I've cheated on when I was younger. I was immature, probably. It was a reflection of myself, maybe some of my own insecurities. As Janelle said earlier, going out and finding that adoration, going out, you know, everyone wants to be, you know, have someone think they're attractive. Everyone wants to know that they can, you know, pull a girl. But then when you meet something that's not worth risking it for, when you meet someone that's not worth risking it for, then you've got to have eyes for only one person. But that's, as I said, that's not to say that I don't find other women attractive or that she doesn't find other men attractive. But it's when you act on that. And I absolutely agree, Jason. It is complicated because you have situations where kids are involved, for example, and then it becomes a lot more difficult.
Thank you, Neil. Anyone else want to come in there? Andre? And Daniel wants to come in. Okay, Andre.
Yeah.
And Charles, we've got you, so just keep it quick.
Yeah, so I pride myself on loving hard and loving deep. And if my partner has made an honest, I want to say honest mistake, but you know what I mean? If they've slipped up, they've allowed themselves that weak moment. And when, you know, it's just a moment, there's no feelings, there's no emotions involved. It's just a complete screw up. I want to say that I love hard enough to be able to forgive even that depth of hurt. I want to say it. I'm not sure I can do it. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm not sure because of the whole male ego thing. It literally strips us of manhood just to know that she's been with other people in the past, let alone she's been with someone last week. It's a killer. It hurts. But I want to say that I can love hard enough to move past it. if she says she's been seeing someone for a few months and yeah, she's feeling it, then of course it's got to be done. I ain't fighting no one who don't want to be with me. That's it. It's over.
Okay.
So yeah, and in the past, I have been that guy who has cheated because it's Thursday, purely because I've been in a relationship.
He said cheated because it's Thursday. He said it.
Yeah. So
right.
let me go into it. So this was.
We've got other comments.
So in my 20s, I knew that a relationship was not my priority, and if something great came along, I'd be like, you know what? I've not sampled that before. Let me go try a piece over there. Let me try a piece here. Let me get this something here, because I knew that that relationship is dispensable at the time. It don't run like that now. Okay. And yes, I've been weak in previous relationships. I've been weak, but I only cheated when I knew that I would. Well, and you wouldn't get the relationship. No, not even that. I didn't get between 20 and 30. If I got caught, I didn't give a shit. I'm being honest. I didn't care because I knew it was dispensable. Prior to that, after that, I have cheated, yes, when I knew I had something good. But again, it came at a moment of weakness. It came at a moment where I knew I was feeling less than myself, and I needed that pick me up. And I just needed to make sure that I had that mojo. I no longer rely on that now. So when I know I've got something good, I'm good. Like the temptation, I mean, I've probably had 5 of you in the past. I'm okay. I know what you feel like. I probably know what's going to get you off. I'm cool with just the imagination. Let's just move on. Leave it at that.
Okay.
So,
all right, we're gonna pause you right there because a couple of other guys wanted to come. We've got Charles who asked the question. So Charles, would you go back would you forgive if your partner cheated on you, your wife cheated on you? Oh, let me just unmute you. Oh, go. You've done it.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. So I think it's subjective. It's a case by case basis, to be honest. I'm similar to, I think one of the other gentlemen have said before. I would like to say that I would. However, I don't know how I'd feel at that time, in that moment. What I'd seek to understand why did it happen in the first place? Then I'd have to look within myself. What part did I play within that? You know, that wasn't my love strong enough or whatever I was doing not to keep my wife from actually cheating with me. But I would like to say that there's a level of maturity and grace, you know, that to make sure that we could move forward with anything, because I married for better, for worse. And that goes both ways. Like if I fell down as well, how would my wife feel about me? So I honestly can answer to say, yeah, I'm going to be there. You will only know in that moment when it happens.
When it happens.
But can I just add to what you just said there, Charles? And I think it was very valuable, the points that you made. You won't know unless you're in that situation. However, sometimes in a relationship, I'm just saying, because I've heard and I've read certain books, if a woman hasn't dealt with certain issues that she may have from like certain trauma, you know, these things could actually manifest in that relationship, you know, and I guess that's one of the reasons why when you're dating, it's really imperative to ask some key questions and find out so much information. Have you ever cheated before? You know, and find out deeply why that person potentially cheated. You know, ask those questions. And I feel that people, especially when we're doing like dating, etc., we don't tend to ask those questions. And then when we're in that situation, then we end up in these places, and you've got to look at that woman's track record or look at that man's track record. You will see that person, whether or not it's 10 years, 5 years, or whatever, but you have to ask those questions to find out beforehand so that you know, okay, this is potentially somebody that could potentially cheat on me. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's you that failed. It's just that something that she hasn't dealt with or he hasn't dealt with.
Very true. Listen, I'm just going to touch on a couple of comments very quickly. Guys, thank you so much, everybody. Yeah. I'm just going to touch on a couple of comments very quickly. Men struggle with being cheated on. This is Lucky Lloyd, because society has taught us that all women are faithful and labels all men as cheaters. Somebody else said something similar. Not all men cheat, just like not all women are faithful. Kwame said exactly, Neil. When you're young, you experiment and just have fun. As you get older, you begin to learn what is important. Adelaide, thank you. She said, good, honest chat. She's really enjoying it. there's different levels of satisfaction, says Carol McBee, hugging, kissing, massage, etc. And there was one more comment actually that I thought, oh, again, not all men cheat. So you know, I think back to what we were saying, it's not a one size fits all. And of course, if somebody was to falter in a relationship, it depends on your relationship and between the two of you whether or not you can come back from that. So Jeremiah, we're going to come to you now. What did you have to say, Jeremiah?
Yeah, I'll just be very quick. Mine's a testimony. Basically, like when I was really young in my 20s, you know, I was a naughty boy and I cheated on my girlfriend. And then about a year later, she did the same to me. And then I found out. I remember inviting her to my house to hash out the subject. And we sat down from about 11 in the afternoon or in the morning, all the way till 10 at night, just thrashing out, why did it happen? Why did we do this? Where did we got wrong? And then after everything, we just, you know, we looked at each other, and after we thrashed it out and we, you know, we agreed, we just said like, you know, do you love me? And she just said, yeah. And I said, I love you too, and I want to make it work. And we both made a vow never to bring up the situation. So we thrashed it out, we put it to bed, and that's all it was. And to her credit, yeah, even when she was angry with me or anything like, she never brought it up. And I find that when if you do take a partner back that has cheated, because it is a horrible thing, because I've been on both sides of the fence, a lot of the things, in order to get over it, yeah, because it's not going to happen overnight, but it doesn't help if the partner keeps bringing it up, keeps throwing it in a person's face because you haven't really got over it. I know it's not as easy as that, but when you're mature and all that stuff, and you're both working at it to get over the pain, to get over what's going on, it really does help. And it does take a different kind of person, because I had all my friends clown me and say, oh, how could you take her back and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I loved her and she forgave me when I did it. So, you know, I was mature enough to forgive her when it happened again. And I don't think a lot of guys can do that. But then again, at the end of the day, as what some of the guys have said on the panel, you don't know that situation until you're in it. You really don't. You don't know. But it's what I said earlier, when there's emotional involved from a woman's point of view, then the man does feel stripped. He does feel this. But then when a woman finds out that a guy's been cheating, in my experience, as long as there's no, it was just a slip up or there's nothing in it, she's more likely to take him back. So as I just said, it's down to maturity, it's down to communication, and it's down to working out in order, if you want to fight for your relationship. That's it.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you very much for that.
Okay, so we've got a question. What makes a man decide to marry a woman?
And that's for the married men. Let's start with the married men. So Neil, what makes a man decide to make a woman his wife? What's the key critical things that made you say, I want to marry this woman?
The mother-in-law. No, I'm joking. Do you know what it was? He's Catholic, I'm Christian. I've always believed in marriage. I come from a family where my mum and dad got married. Well, they were school sweethearts. So I've seen that commitment through my life and what it means. So for me, it just got to the point where I wanted to show something to her and to everyone else that I was committed to her. And this was the only woman for me and the only woman that I wanted to be with. We also had a son, so we had Charlie. I was pregnant with Charlie when I was 23. And I wanted to do it for him. I wanted to do it to just make our bond and tell everyone that this was serious for me, and I'd made a decision to commit.
Thank you for that, Neil. Yeah, I think that's a really solid answer. And you're still together now and still happily married. Okay, Charles, what made you decide that your wife was going to be your wife? What was it that made you say, right, this is her?
I decided that I wanted to marry my wife is when I knew that I couldn't live without her, that I didn't want to not have life without her. That's when I decided that I wanted to marry my wife. She had such amazing qualities. I know that she makes me better. I think one of the best things that a song that explains that is like Neo. Is that yeah, I'm a force by myself, but we're a movement when we're together. I think that really personifies, you know, myself and my wife's marriage. But yeah, I just didn't want to live without her, and I think she felt very much the same way. And I think that's what had really been a driving force.
That's beautiful. Listen, mate, beautiful. And the thing is, I'm going to be a bit biased, because I know Charles personally, and I know his wife, and I will say their communion is just absolutely beautiful. You know, everything about what you guys represent. I just want to say, I just salute you guys. I really look up to you guys, and it's just beautiful. Just, yeah, absolutely beautiful. But anyway, we're not on that. We're going to get into the show. So I've got a question. You know, like, obviously with social media and everything else, do we feel that, I think even Neil asked this question, do we think that social media is having an impact on our expectation of what a relationship should be? And this is going to be the last question, guys. We've got one final question, but it's going to be really short and sweet, but this is the last question before we wrap up. Who wants to tackle that one? Andre. Okay, Andre, sorry, we'll start with you. Keep it as short as you can because we're running out of time.
Sure. Yeah, there's just so much fakery put out there, and people are believing this shit. What you see on social media is highlight reels of people's best moments. Like, come on, man, it's 2020. We should know this shit by now. Like, it is messing up people's expectations massively. And another bugbear of mine is memes. People are believing memes like it's, you know, like the Britannica back in the 80s. It's not what you read on screen. That's reality. Like, that's someone's reality at that moment when they put it on screen for the amount of likes or clickbait. That's all it is. People taking it and believing it and running with it and thinking, yeah, this is what I should be looking for. This is what I should want. And the generation coming up now, boy, I fear for you, because that's your point of reference. Please get a life, or should I say, get a deeper understanding of life.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. Neil asked the question. We'll come to Neil.
First, I wanted to say, Charles, that was absolutely lovely what you said about your wife. You articulated what I was trying to say, so I fell a bit short. That was really, really nice. Yeah, do you know what? Having a 16-year-old son and a 12-year-old son, where they build their expectations from these platforms, you know, I see it all the time. You know, what you see these veneers of a perfect life, and then people are sitting there going, I should have that. My relationship should be that. But what they don't see is the arguing in the background. You know what? We've got friends who portray these amazing lifestyles online, and I'm not much of a social media. I'm a bit in the dark ages when it comes to social media. We've got friends that portray these amazing, happy relationships, but we know what's going on behind the scenes. And so I really worry for the younger generation, and that's why I posed the question, because you can just see an absolute car crash coming in the future of relationships that are not based on what we're talking about today, based on trust, based on love, but it's based on what things should look like. You know, as I said, Zoe seeing me in my best, at my best, and seeing me at my worst, but you don't see that on social media. You don't see the worst.
That's right. Anyone else want to come in on that point about social media? Okay, Earl, we're going to take one comment from Earl and we'll take one from Charles.
Yeah, I'm just going to be quick. I was just going to say, yeah, the whole social media thing, I feel sorry for young people, because I think mainly them, their expectations of what they feel relationship should be about is like, it's just way off. But the last thing I wanted to say was, I think in general, I think people who are still dating now, I think they just need to, what's the word? Just be mindful of the pond that you're fishing in when you're looking for that partner. So if you're looking for someone who is deep and is into poetry or XYZ, then maybe you need to be in the library to go and find that person, rather than being in a club or a wine bar, and then you find what you like the look of, but then you're trying to mold it into something else, because it's never going to be that. So I just think find someone or find things of similar, go to somewhere of similar interest, and then you will find your person in that place.
That's a really important point, Al, because this is something that we've said, is that where do you meet people these days, you know? But if you know what your interests are and you go to places, of course, lockdown has happened. In fact, there's a bonus question we are going to ask, because lockdown has happened and someone's asked a really critical question about that. But if you go to the places that are of interest to you, you might be interested in art, you might be interested in photography, but and just general networking, you can find these locations where already you're going to be meeting somebody who shares the same interests with you. So that is a starting point. It's not going to really be in a club. In your younger days, maybe, but it's not going to be in a club. It's not going to be out like that, because everyone's just out to have a good time. And for a lot of guys and girls, it's about seeing how many numbers they can get. Really think, if you want to meet somebody that's, you know, you're serious about, then think about those serious places that you can meet those people. Right, we had a question about lockdown.
Okay, so Winnie said it's reported that divorce is on the rise during lockdown. How has lockdown affected your relationships, minus the single men?
Oh no! Oh yeah. I guess.
Well, they're single.
They're single, but they may have become single because of lockdown.
Yeah.
Anyway,
include a single man.
All right. So Neil, you got your hand up. Let's come to Neil.
I suppose for us, it's been good. We've had more time to spend the time on the love making that Andre was talking about earlier, rather than the quickies in the morning before the kids get up. So for us, it's been great. We've really connected, and it's been really, really nice. But also not just with Zoe, but with my children as well. You know, we're all so busy, work. We both got hectic jobs. We've got other business interests. The kids are at school. And lockdown really, it either went one or two ways. It either brought families together and you spent more time talking, connecting, and bettering your family dynamic, or it could go the other way.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you so much. Okay, Andre, how has it affected your relationship?
We were, like, in terms of our relationship, we've been one of the lucky ones. We have spent a lot more time together than we normally would have. It's strengthened us massively. But as people, we've been under so much pressure because we're both reliant on industries which have been locked down. So we've been stressed, but that stress has really questioned whether or not we want it or not. And we've answered that question emphatically. And every time we've had that moment where we're like, boy, this is getting a bit much, we've just come back stronger and tighter and harder. And yeah, we are. I think we're at the point where I think we're unbreakable. I'm just going to put it out there. It's I think lockdown has been, I think, probably the biggest blessing of my life to date. So yeah.
Wow, that's really
I love that.
That's so positive.
And you know what I loved about Andre's response? It's realistic. Do you know what I mean? It's realistic, because I think I'm not married, I'm not in a relationship or anything, but when I'm dealing with pressure, it either breaks me or it makes me, do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. So if it makes you stronger, I think that's a great thing, because that's what it's all about. You're growing together. That's what's going to make your communion so much stronger. So yeah.
Okay.
That. I think Jason,
we're going to come to you now. We literally have probably got about 5 minutes left, so keep it very short, very sweet, guys, because we do want one final thing for you before we let you go this evening.
Okay, in my experience, I'm going to echo what Neil and Andrea said. Definitely stronger, strength to strength. I've learned so much about my wife during this lockdown period. It's allowed me to spend more time. You know, I spent time with my son, but especially my wife. It's allowed me to know her more. A lot of things I didn't see before. Even my attitude towards her, the way I did things, it's just changed the dynamic and the angle. And it's just, it's been a positive for me anyway. It's been an amazing thing, because I mean, she might be listening saying, yeah, right. But for me personally, I know I've been on a very, very, very long journey, and I'm happy where I am, and I know I can only move forward. So it's been a blessing for me. That's me. You know, I've known my wife. I know my wife more than I did in the past 8 years, and I've known her just within a couple of months. So yeah, it's a blessing.
Thank you so much.
And
sorry, Jason, you wanted to add something?
No, and I said I love her so much now. I do. So.
And I just want to add something else that you said, Jason, which we set up a group chat and it's been pretty busy. And Jason actually said in that group chat, when the moment he saw his wife, he knew that was his wife.
And I love that. And I'm going to be biased. I know Jason's wife, and that's one of my girls. And she is beautiful inside and out. So you chose wisely, man. You chose wisely.
Okay, so we're going to come to you, Charles. And I think that will be the final comment on this question. And then we've got one last question for you guys before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening. What's left of it. Right. So go on, Charles. Lockdown in your marriage.
So lockdown in my marriage, I think at the beginning of lockdown, it was very busy for me because of the work that I'm in. It was very intense. And I was fortunate to work from home. But throughout lockdown, it made us closer together. I got to spend more time with my wife, and we connected even more than ever before. I got to see my child growing up throughout the period, from from her going from 8 months to 18 months now, which is great. We also spent more time communicating with each other. We've actually taken up a marriage course, so shout out to Winnie for recommending that, and that's been amazing. Like reconnecting, like even our sex life as well, and just having that time, and focusing on our other plans as well in terms of what we want to do. We actually got a taste of what is life going to be like if business operates around our family, around our marriage, instead of us running around having to go to work. And so that's even given us the desire to do much more better things. So yeah, it's been a blessing.
Thank you. So all in all, Kaz, what it sounds like is lockdown's been pretty positive on these guys and their relationships.
And you know what? To be quite honest, lockdown's been positive to us as well, because that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show that the lockdown has had its positive, and it's also had a negative for those as well. But at the same time, we're just going to run with the positive because that's what it's all about.
Definitely. So guys, we have so enjoyed this chat. We could chat for hours with you actually, because there's so much to say. We really appreciate you guys stepping out and coming and sharing this time with us, giving up your Sunday evening or afternoon where Daniel's concerned, because he's all the way over in sunny Jamaica.
That's how I want to be.
And we just really appreciate you bringing your gems, your insights to the table, and your honesty and yourself. So thank you. Now, before we let you go, there is one last question we want from each and every one of you, and it's going to be short and sweet. So no essays, no Shakespeare, none of that. What we want to know from each and every one of you is the number one top quality you look for in a partner. So we'll start with you, Neil. And you can leave us with that tip, so the ladies out there will be listening.
It's a really tough question, because obviously it's a multitude of qualities that make up my wife. Strength for me is really important. She's been incredibly strong over the years. Seeing her go through some of the things she's been through and handle them with grace has only made me admire her and love her more. So her strength and she really is the backbone of our family.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you. Elle, what about yourself? Top quality that you look for in a partner, number one.
Well, the top quality I'd say Claudine has, my other half. I'd say morality, because she's just standards. They're the second to none. She just doesn't. She's a lot more principled than I am, I should say. So, and she's one of the most honest people. No, she probably is the most honest person I know. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elle. Jeremiah?
I would say honesty, understanding, and communication. Because with all of them, you can achieve everything. Communication on all levels, spiritual, mental, physical, everything like that. There's understanding that as a leader, I'm going to get things wrong. I'm not going to get it right, but to have that understanding and that compassion to help me in order to do what we need to do is so important. And honesty as well, like being honest, like I mess up, but I'm going to try again. And I think when a woman sees that, it's something that she's going to like, okay, this is my king, and he's not going to get everything right, but I understand him and he's honest and we're communicating, and that's one thing that's very, very important in my eyes.
Thank you for that.
Charles?
Yeah, honesty and integrity, really important for me. That she can be true to herself and truthful with me. That's one of the main important qualities that I like to see. And that's why I found with my wife this, just to cut it short, keep it short and sweet. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Charles. Okay, Andre, over to you. Number one top quality.
Short, sweet, simple, growth mindset. With that growth mindset, she can develop, adapt, and evolve in the direction I'm trying to go as well. Likewise with me, we can grow, complement each other with our growth.
Thank you very much. Jason, your time.
One, communication.
Perfect. Anything to add, or communication is key?
You said one, but if you want more,
one,
progression.
But it's just key. I'm just saying anything around communication. Okay.
Progression.
All right.
Progression.
Thank you. And Daniel, for you, the number one top quality that you look for in a partner?
2 words: emotional intelligence.
Okay.
So the man who can play, anybody can play dominoes here? Anybody play domino? You have to know to read the game.
You have to have insight, yeah?
You have to read
know
the game.
know what's coming before it even arrives.
Especially with men, we're not going to spell out everything. You have to read the game.
Okay. Well, on that note, Kaz, I think we can wrap up the discussion. It's been fantastic. There are some comments.
Amazing. So guys, thank you all for tuning in. Let me just put some of my glass.
So we have good and honest reasoning, great panel, great show. Thank you, really enjoyed this. A special thank you to Jeremiah for apparently putting someone in touch. Adelaide said thanks. Grace said so good, guys. Adelaide said well done all. Winnie said well done on a great show. Thank you for opening this platform to the men. Indeed, this has never been done before, guys. We actually, we didn't even realize it's never been done before, but it's never been done before. To give men a platform in the UK to speak about relationships is so important. Like we said, we chat all day long about relationships as women, but to have you guys on, it's been an honor and a pleasure. Lucky Louis said amazing show. So guys, thank you so much. This will be going up, so please do share it. I think there's so much more, so many more people out there who want to.
That definitely wants to listen to this, because it's been very insightful. Obviously it's been entertaining, but it's been very informative. It's educational, and it's making me look at things in a different way, if I'm going to be completely honest. So I just want to say, guys, thank you so much for your input. Also, thank you to the viewers for being here and staying with us, and even giving your comments, your questions, and everything else, engaging in the conversation. We just want to say thank you so, so much. So guys, you know what to do. You know you need to follow us, because, now Chat Show is just a show.
Shall we wave goodbye to the guys? Guys, Neil, Earl, Jeremiah, Charles, Andre, Jason, Daniel, and Stefan, who had technical difficulties. In fact, whose idea it was to have this platform.
That's so sad about it, because Stefan, we want to say thank you, because you came up with this idea, and because of Stefan's, coming forward and saying, create this platform, and we've done it. And we just want to say, Stefan, thank you. We know you wasn't here due to technical issues, but thank you so much.
Okay, guys, so we're going to say goodbye to you. Thank you so, so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and enjoy your relationships for those who are in relationships, and for those who aren't, good luck with the search. So like I said, please do follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of that good stuff. It's now Chat Show UK. You can grab us every Friday on iLab Radio as well, 47. Just go to our page, you'll see all the details. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
You know what? I feel a bit sad already, but you know what, guys? We're going to see you in the next 4 or 5 days. We're going to see you on Friday.
Yeah.
So do join us on our drive time on iLive Radio. If you love conversations, what you just heard, if you just need to just follow us, follow everything, all our social media, you will not be disappointed because we are a platform to inspire you.
So we are out of here, guys. Peace, love, and blessings.
Bye.
Ciao.